All right. Hello. Welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging. We are back to playing Embers of the Imperium, Genesys system. It is a new setting that just was dropped within the last couple of months by its studios. Genesys has been around for a while. So if you've ever played any of the Edge of the Empire type games, very similar system, or if you've played Shadow of the Beanstalk, same systems. But we are doing this space opera version. It's based off a long-running board game. And if you're unfamiliar with the board game, think things like Mass Effect, stuff like that. Very similar things. We ended last session, because we're going to do 3 sessions of this. So we ended our first session, a little bit of tech problems. So we're going to pick up in the middle of a combat, which is always fun. But before we do that, why don't we do some intros? So each of you can tell us a little about your character, who they are, species, that kind of thing. Whatever it is you feel like sharing is cool with me. And then we'll get started. So Aaron, why don't you lead us off and tell us about Krieg?
Krieg Mannix is a Letnev, and his career is covert infiltrator, but really what you should be thinking is grifter and thief. He much prefers to talk his way out of problems than fight his way out of problems, and if he does have to fight his way out of problems, he wants to have enough respect for his opponent to stick the knife directly into his ribs. So he's not big on sitting in the back and shooting at somebody.
Very nice. And Letnev's from the Barony of Letnev, traditionally like the kind of bluish, grayish skinned humanoids is sort of what we're dealing with. Next up, Ashley, tell us about Sa Alhena, or however you pronounce it. Ashley, we can't hear you. You need to speak up. You're very quiet.
Hello, there we go. So Sa Alhena, she is our cowboy of the group, I guess is a really great way to describe her. She is just gas in a suit. She likes to collect audio files and clips from like old content. She really prefers westerns, but she also likes 2000s pop. So it's really interesting when she's pulling from that and she's talking to you. Sometimes it gets really weird.
Yeah, you're a crease, which is sometimes known as a ghost.
Yes.
As like you are, like you said, you're literally you're in an energy cloud, or so to speak. And the only time you can ever really take sort of physical corporeal form is if you're in these suits.
Yes.
So that is the Creus. They're very enigmatic. There's still folks that don't really know a whole lot about them. A lot of people are very unsettled by them.
They're kind of creepy to people. Yeah.
But I definitely think your cowboy approach is probably going to put people at ease. You know.
Totally. It's so normal. And like, who doesn't love a good cowboy?
Yeah, ghost.
That's what she thinks.
Ghost in a suit with a cowboy aesthetic and a 6-shooter on their side.
But sometimes they sound like those broken voice box toys from children's.
Yep.
Totally not nightmare inducing.
Weren't you going to try to get a voice modulation thing for this? You try to do it? That'd have been funny. Unfortunately, Ashley didn't commit to it, unlike Steven, who committed to painting himself in his clothes green for the stream.
And his dog.
And his dog, yeah. So Steven,
this isn't the only game I've painted myself for.
I believe that.
Nico is an Israel orbital drop soldier. I am a little green man with a very large gun. My skin can change color, so I try to show off as much skin as possible. I am currently wearing my winter loincloth, which is just like my normal loincloth, but with a fur trim. And I have a bright purple fanny pack to hold all my stuff.
Fantastic. Okay. And you're currently cowering like a very brave, tiny little green man behind a large ATV vehicle inside of your cargo bay. But I do think you took at least one out as in the fight. I think you took it.
I think so.
Possibly two. Yeah. Next up, we've got the oldest of the group. Probably we got Koisis. Go ahead, Evan.
I'm playing Koi. Koi is an ancient Xxcha, which is like a turtle person. She's, like I said last week, on the edge of dying every day she wakes up, but she's happy with her life. She's been a shepherd her whole life, protecting people, and had different flocks her whole life, and this is her newest. And one day if she doesn't wake up, she's okay with that.
Very nice. Shepherd is one of the careers in Embers of the Imperium. Very much like a bodyguard protector for sure. And last we saw of Koi, she was running out to try to help protect Sa, who was getting into a firefight all by herself. And then finally, we've got Melissa playing Pira Loca. Tell us about Piri, Melissa.
Yeah, hi, I am Piriloka on Junok Orak. So the Shakrai have very long names that gives kind of homage to who trains them and kind of important experiences in their lives. So she was trained by Junok, and an important experience for her was this lonely vigil that required patience and independence. So Shakrai are bird people. And she is a trail stalker. So by training, she is actually a mountain climber, face climber, crack climber.
Okay, fantastic. And if memory serves, you temporarily climbed on the back of Koi at some point, and then Koi left to protect someone else. And was there a slide? Did we do a sled thing? Didn't someone ride like Koi like a sled at one point?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Totally. We totally did not attempt to break her spine.
Yeah.
By riding her like a sled down a mountain.
This is probably what Evan means by Koi. Like any day could be her last, because around these people it seems more likely to be so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Puri was definitely like set up with the gun on Koi's shell, kind of shooting over the shoulder, and then Koi was like, I don't know where Sal is. I'm gonna go that way. And so there's Puri just standing there with the gun.
All right. So quick summary. I'll get started. So you all are members of the Kelleris, who is you're a special operative group. You work for the Galactic Council. You're still young in terms of your organization's history, only about 5 years old. It's not particularly respected across the galaxy just yet. But you have been escorting a science team off to the Morgallan cluster, which is kind of an outer cluster in the galaxy, when a distress call that was referencing an ancient Mahakt empire, this old empire from long ago, diverted your crew of the ship, the Bounty. So good luck on what's going to happen eventually there, to the icy planet of Bereg. There, you kind of figured like the source of the call seemed to be what's called a Lodinium mine. But when you were trying to meet with the mine's overseer, a series of explosions nearly trapped you beneath the mountain as many of the mining tunnels started to collapse. At a rescue camp, after things kind of settled a bit, you did manage to finally meet with Overseer Duquette, and she informed you all that her company never sent a distress call, had no idea what you were talking about. One of the indentured workers there showed, I think it was Sal Alhena, a unexploded device that they had discovered hidden in one of the mining tunnels, and that they were planning to use to kind of escape their indentured servitude. And then at that point, you decided you're going to return to your bounty to kind of figure out what the hell's going on. But when you got there, some things were kind of strange at the site. You can see that the bounty's cargo bay was wide open. There was a modified escort fighter that had landed nearby. From the exterior, you also noticed that there was some damage to your communications array, and no one from the ship, from the science team, was responding to your hails. You also noticed that there was a section of the ship that would normally house the engine core seemed to have suffered damage, but likely from the inside. You also found the body of an unknown intruder that had been torn or bitten in half and left at the base of the loading ramp that went into your cargo bay. And there were bestial tracks that were sort of left in the snow, looking like they were climbing up that loading bay at a certain point. Most of you went inside into the cargo bay. You went and investigated the escort fighter. You found the barely living body of a feline roca named Sash, who is a symbiotic partner to the Naz Rit. So the Naz roca are symbiotic species, and it would be very odd for the two of them not to be next to each other almost at all times. But you didn't find Rit. You tried to give some medical attention and such, but as you were doing so, you were attacked. And inside, as you guys were looking around a bit, you also were attacked by a group of intruders. They had these kind of cloaks and coverings on, these strange masks that were either cybernetics or just some kind of helmet, maybe for breathing apparatus. Gunfire ensued. You took a few out on the inside. Koi raced to try to help Sa, and that's where we're going to pick up. So it is, in terms of the turn order, Sa, it's your turn. Most recently, you had just dove for cover with your maneuver, and you spent a story point to do so, to kind of create this cover on the ground. This figure that was shooting at you while you were tending to Sash is now trying to get to their ship. You see they've been firing and moving, and you are now hunkered down partially behind this cover, and you have your action. What would you like to do?
I'm going to shoot it, please.
Okay. You're going to need to add you're going to add 2 setback die to your attack. 1 because they actually have a ranged defensive one, and 1 because of just the conditions out here. They're pretty intense.
Those are the black ones, correct?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I'm just going to rip it as is, and we'll see what I get.
Absolutely. Okay.
So I did fail.
Yeah. Not only did you fail, there's nothing going on. There's no advantages, no threats. It's a very boring roll.
You ripped it.
Wow. Everything cancels each other out.
So Saw made this amazing dive underneath this cover that's here, and she's got her gun, and she just kind of I didn't open my thing, but anyways, 11.
Okay.
Rootin' tootin'. And she just leans back and shoots, and nothing happens. Her gun jams, and she pulls it back, and she's like, "These regular bullets don't do nothing." And
Okay. All right. So in the cold, you shout all these things out through your force modulator. Maybe the target hears it, maybe they don't, but whatever they do, they continue moving undisturbed by your attack.
At least Koi hears it. That's all that matters.
Might make Koi turn around and run back inside. What am I doing with my life? Okay. Next up, we're going to move back inside the cargo bay. Again, there's 2 levels. There's the catwalk through which you saw a 2nd level entranceway. A group of these masked figures was running through you. I think it was both Puri and Nico both took one out. One of them I think one of them still remains. Just sort of peel back curtain. This is a minion group basically, so they're treated as a group. And so they're going to go next. Nico has taken cover, so he doesn't seem like a particularly intelligent person to attack. So I'm going to 50-50 it between Krieg and Puri to see which one this fires on. It's going to be Puri.
Makes sense.
Puri, do you have any ranged defense?
Do I have any ranged defense?
I
I
don't
don't
character sheet.
believe that I do.
Okay. If that's the case, they're going to shoot down at you from the 2nd level.
I do not.
So they have a pistol in hand. So they rest it. They kind of rest their arm somewhat, and they kind of point down at you. They have a little bit of height on you, and they're going to fire down. Here we go. I don't have anything fancy to do, so we'll just rip it, as the kids say. I don't know if that's what the kids say, but fails.
Seems like people should not be saying that.
Yeah, really should. Fires down. Seems to be a cursed phrase, as he also fails, and so you just see the shot pistol. Now these are actual physical bullets, and so you just hear that ping, ping, ping as they bounce off the exterior armor of the Rambler, off the floor, off the wall. It just fires, just shooting blanks every which way. All right. Then we go to the final round, the final slot, which is going to be Krieg, because he's the only one who hasn't gone yet. All right, Krieg.
So Krieg stands up, looks right up at the guy. His collapsible blade comes out. He rolls it around his wrist, and he points it right up at him. He's like, "Oil! What do you think you're doing? Look, all of your friends are dead. There's just us. You got no chance here. You need to surrender. Come down here. Explain to us what's going on, or you're going to join your friends there taking a permanent nap. So surrender, and let's be civilized about this."
Okay. Oh, geez. Will he be civilized about this?
No.
You can, if you want, you can make a check here. Yeah, coercion maybe, negotiation, whatever you prefer. One of those two probably sounds.
I prefer coercion.
Yeah, that's fine. You are pointing a knife at him, or a big blade at him.
Okay, I got.
Yeah,
Hold on, I
yeah.
gotta
Go
set
ahead.
this up real quick.
Yeah, it's good.
Just trying to remind myself what all of the little... That's threat.
Yeah, there's lots of little things to do here. Okay.
4 successes, 2 advantage.
Okay. Anything in particular that you want to do with those advantages? You can kind of pass them forward. There's the handout sheet and stuff. But if there's something you wanted to trigger, something you wanted to do, just say so.
Yeah, I will pass the advantages forward.
Okay. All right. I'll tell you this. They're definitely not going to just up and surrender. What they will do, however, is you see them reach up to where their mask is, where that the mechanical devices. You can see their eyes are lit up. Some of you might even be wearing rebreathers. Some of you might not. And he pulls back, and you can see a face that is just marred by horrible scars. You can see that there's these bits of metal, like cybernetic replacements. You realize that it's like one of the eyes has been replaced. Part of the forehead has been. You can see tears in the neck here and there, some of which is just flesh scarring. He's quite hideous, in fact. And he looks down at you now with the mask off, but some certain cybernetics, and he looks at you, and then down at the bodies that you are referencing, and he says, "Those that died are sacrifices. Their flesh will placate the horde, and we will be thusly rewarded." And then he takes the gun and just kind of points it up right at his chin and pulls the trigger. And you see his face explodes. He collapses over the railing and falls down over top of you. So 4 successes was enough to take out the last of this minion group, but he wasn't going to go quietly, and he wasn't going to be taken prisoner. Okay.
Well, I gotta say, I wasn't expecting that, but kudos. He's got a moxie.
All right. New round. There are. Let's see. I'm going to remove. Let's see. There are. So the first initiative slot is going to be claimed by the one on the outside. So the one that's out there by Saw and by Koi. They're going to go ahead and claim that. Okay. They're going to take a shot at Saw and then try with their maneuver to climb up into the cockpit of this fighter here. I gave you cover. I'm trying to remember what because cover basically gives you defense is effectively what it is, and like doesn't necessarily stack with armor. Do you have any armor, Saw, on you?
No armor.
Okay, so we'll say it's gonna effectively give you an extra some defense. So I'm gonna add some setback die to him. Since you spent a story point, I'll say 2. So he's gonna fire at you. I'm gonna add 2 setback die. Oh, I totally forgot the difficulty of it. All right, he's gonna fire a pistol at you. I'm gonna add 2 setback die and roll away. Okay, even with the cover, he still manages to get the shot off. And you can see that as the shots start ringing through the ice pack that you're kind of standing by, this chunk of ice, it starts to rip apart as he fires multiple shots, one after the other. And you can see these beams start firing out, melting and carving away some of the ice. And then finally, when it gets through the cover, it just carves through you. So that's going to be 6 points of damage. So do you have any soak? Check
no
your
soak.
sheet.
Or 4.
You do. You have 4 soak. Okay,
Yeah.
so take two wounds.
Okay, so I'm at 4 wounds.
Okay, no, you're good to go. 2 wounds is fine. So four wounds total is fine. And then he's going to climb up into the cockpit. He's not going to start it up or anything like that, but he's climbing up into the cockpit of the ship currently. Just making sure there's nothing else I can trigger because I only got the 1 advantage, which doesn't really do much here. Yeah, there's really not a whole lot I can do with one. I'll add a boost die to the next allied character. His next allied character, which is just probably going to be him. All right, so that is the end of the intruder's turn. Who wants to pick up? We have 4 PC slots. Actually, we have all of you in a row since the other one died on the inside. So who would like to pick up the first of the PC slots?
Koi can go and chase him down.
Okay.
So Koi will continue the sprint, and will kind of, as she's, her large form starts breaking through the snow, she'll look over at Saw and be like, "You should probably get inside. You're gonna die out here. Let Big Mama handle this." And then she continues. So I'm gonna spend 2 more strain to do double move essentially, and try to see if I can find him, get where he is, and kind of stop him from at least starting the ship.
I'll say
buy us some time.
With if you're spending the strain to get a second maneuver, you can get right up next, because the first of your maneuvers will basically get you to Saw. The second maneuver will get you to the ship movement, and then you still have your action if there's something that you want to try to do. If you want to try to rip them out, if you're trying to want to attack, whatever it is you want to do here.
Yeah, I don't mind attacking him because my weapon would just knock him unconscious anyways. Well, it's not stunned, so I guess it wouldn't. But
and you get a boost dice from the advantage as I push forward if you want to take it.
Yeah, I'll attack. I'm just trying to get him distracted from what he's trying to do, which is clearly leave. So I'm just going to try and buy us a round of time on his next turn.
Okay, so this is going to be, so he's got 1 melee defense, and also he actually has the ability Adversary 1, which I forgot to tell Ashley about. With this, increases difficulty of combat checks against it by 1, which means 3 purple die and 1 black die is basically what you're going to be running up against here.
Okay. So an extra purple and add a black. And then I get 2 blue.
Exactly.
Okay. All right, yeah, she pulls out her deflector buckler and just tries to jam him into the wall and kind of pin him there.
Okay.
Nice.
2 successes, 7 damage. Does have soak, but not 7 soak. So it's still going to end up taking a good chunk of damage. You don't have enough advantage. You don't have any advantages to trigger the critical. But yeah, you reach in, you start bat. What does your weapon look like?
It's like a energy buckler that's against the side of her arm that she just bashes him into the wall. Does when Koi bashes him, does she see any melee weapon on him, or is it just the pistol that he was wielding?
They do have a blade. Actually, you can see the hilt of it sticking up. They've kind of moved it to the side so they can sit in the cockpit, but you can see that the hilt of it sticking up from where it's held on the on their waist.
Okay, and then the last thing I can do for free, I'll trigger my defensive stance, and I get, just for 1 strain, I get 1 melee defense dice.
Okay, very nice. Okay, so that is Koi's turn. Took some damage. All right, so that was Koi. Next, we have another PC slot. Who wants to go next?
Have we heard what's going on outside?
I would say
it would make sense first.
At this point, I think you would probably know about it, especially since what's happened inside has started to resolve itself. You saw Koi run out, so Koi, you know that Koi at the very least heard something. So, yeah, I would say there's something going on going down outside.
Okay, well then Nico would spend the strain to do 2 maneuvers to go as quickly as he can. And I don't know exactly how close that would get me, but I'd assume it still takes a little bit more time, right?
Yeah, so I think if I recall correctly with Koi, we made it so that Koi got within medium range of Sa, which is still some distance from the fighter itself, and the visibility is pretty bad out here. But it would probably put you at something like long range from the fighter itself. Okay.
Yeah, my rifle is medium range, so I'll just be good with that, with moving twice.
Okay, sounds good. If that's the case, if you end up not doing anything, you can just save yourself the strain and just say your action was to move some more.
Yeah.
All right, so that was.
Would I be able to
Nico,
get in
right?
range and one movement, or would it be two?
Yeah, you can spend your maneuver, which will get you right up next to the cockpit and right next to Koi as well. You can get right up there. You're not as, I would say, Sa, you're not as large, though. You're not as tall, because Koi and the Xxcha are specifically bigger creatures. I believe they are Silhouette 1. I think they're a little bit bigger. Am I wrong? Is that right? No, someone here
don't know.
I don't want to try and get up there and attack. I want to try and get under it and rip open a panel and like start messing with the wires.
Okay. Yeah, you want to try to do some sort of sabotage stuff? Absolutely.
Yeah, if I could do like a mechanic roll or something to try and disable it.
Yeah, let's do that. So you move up. Roll your mechanics test. Difficulty to take a setback die. Again, visibility is pretty rough. So take the setback die for the visibility. And yeah, roll that.
Do we have any advantage I can add?
No, I didn't roll any from the last time.
Okay, I'm going to take 1.
And it's still 3
Just
purple
didn't-
instead of 2 for adversary?
Well, this isn't technically against him. This is against the ship.
Okay.
So I think just normal 2 is fine.
1 success,
okay.
1 advantage.
1 success, 1 advantage. So you do manage to. So if you get up there, you notice that like as you get up, it's less probably about the engine wise, but you see like there's landing struts, and so you get up there and you can probably do some sort of damage to the landing strut where the fighter is kind of resting, and in doing so, it's going to make it not necessarily impossible to take off, but it's going to be very difficult for them to take off, and you can see that part of the ship is now kind of tipped down towards the nose of the fighter. You have 1 advantage as well. I'm trying to remember what 1 does. You can give it to you can recover 1 strain if you've got any strain. You can give a blue die to the next person to make a check.
I'm going
to the next
to
ally.
do the blue die to the next ally.
Okay, sounds good. All right, so Sa, you're done. Koi and Nico, you're done. Who would like to go next?
Krieg, your words, they're so dangerous. They're so dangerous. I'm so glad you're on our side. My goodness. We should go and check on the rest of the crew, right?
I would say, by all means, I definitely think you should go ahead and run right out there.
You're coming behind me, right? Right. To me.
Absolutely. Don't look back.
I'm going to look back and make sure you're behind me.
Okay.
And so Piri wants to get up to the catwalk where they were coming out of. And
Okay, you want to? Yeah, that's fine. There's definitely ladders you can climb up if you're going up to the 2nd level. When you look through the second, like that second hallway, you can see there's 2 bodies up here. 1 body, obviously fell down to the same level that you and Krieg were just on. You look down the hallway. You don't see any more coming. You just see your ship. You definitely see that there's been some firefights that have been going on here and there, but otherwise it looks like a fairly empty hallway. You do know, I would say, because you're familiar with the ship, that this catwalk kind of extends a ways, and there's eventually a sealed door that will lead into the engine core, to the upper level of the engine core area. So that's where this will take you. Okay. All
and
right.
mechanically, Aaron, I do have heightened awareness, which helps on perception vigilance checks if you stick close to me.
Fair enough. He was
Okay.
planning on following you towards the engine, so.
And it is, in fact, Krieg's turn. What would you like to do?
So Krieg does the exact same thing. He saunters up the ladder, gets up right behind Piri. He's like, "Well, let's go check out the engine room, see what they've done to us."
Okay. Just so that you all have something to do, we'll say the 2 of you push forward. You open up we'll say together, you kind of peek through the door of the engine core. You can see that it still seems to be largely intact, but you can definitely smell the scent of smoke and fumes, as if as something went off in here. And as I tell you what, one of you, who gets the bonus, Melissa, for Piri's heightened awareness? Is it Krieg who gets it, or is it you?
Allies, yeah. So it's a +2 if you're in engaged distance, and +1 if you're in short distance.
Okay, so Krieg, once you roll a perception test, take your bonus from Piri as you take a quick look at the engine room. Doesn't have a ton of light, but there is that pulsing light coming from the core itself that does kind of give everything a little bit of light.
That's
That's a
2
lot of
failures and 5 advantages.
5 advantages. Dear God, that's a lot of advantages. Okay, so you can hear something, I'll say, moving around below, kind of thrashing about a bit. Sort of a strange sound, but you can't quite see it just yet. With those 5, with those 5s, is there anything you want to do in particular with those 5 advantages?
I am going to recover 2 points of strain, and then I will use the other 3 advantage so that the next ally that goes gets a boost die, and then whoever else wants to gets another boost die.
Sounds good. Okay. New round will begin. Again, that intruder character gets that first slot. So they, at this point, with Koi and May essentially leaning over, smashing into the cockpit kind of growing shaking a bit. They're going to attempt to try to stab out at Koi, maneuver, draw the weapon, and then attack with this blade. Do you have any?
3 black dice.
Okay, jeez. Okay. All right. 3 black die. Dear God. That can't be good. That is a failure. As they start swinging away with this blade, you get your shield, your energy shield comes up, blocks each one of the strikes. And although they are quite vicious and unrelenting with it, you do manage to protect yourself from any attacks. And we'll move on. Do you want to hit back? Do you want to do anything back?
I'll let everyone else go, and I can go at the end of our 4 or whatever.
Okay. Saw, do you want to? So, Saw, you've managed to do your best. Like, you can continue to try to just, if you want to continue trying to sabotage this, you certainly can, making it harder and harder for them to take off with the plane. Or if there's something else you wanted to do, we can do that as well.
Oh no, I want to keep messing this up. If that's
Okay,
cool.
so no new rolls necessary. We'll say you just keep smashing away at the strut, trying to get it to completely break.
Saw's just, I've been working on the railroad as she's just tearing it up.
Okay. Nico, anything you wanted to do as you're out here as well?
Yeah, I'm gonna take the 2 maneuvers this time to get from long to medium range.
Sounds good.
And then I am going to just start blasting with my blazer rifle.
Okay. You can go ahead and do that.
I feel like I'm about to get shot in the back.
Yep. Indeed you are.
Did I get an advantage from previous stuff, or because Krieg's like in a different place, it wouldn't roll over to me?
He spent the specific things that literally anybody. Mechanically, it's really anybody. So you can take it. Yeah,
so I'll take the blue. And I shouldn't have any setback dice. So I will be rolling. Just ripping it, as the kids say.
Okay. So.
Yeah, that's 13 damage.
Holy gosh.
Looks like. With a threat.
Okay.
With 2 threat and a triumph.
And triumph.
No despair, though, right? Because I think despair is what makes you hit somebody, one of your other people. So if you don't have no despair, you're good. All right, yeah. Steven, describe the killing blow on this fella, because that is actually enough to take them out. As you'll say, you fire, the cockpit cover hasn't actually come down yet. Koi has managed to keep it up. Even the front of the ship has started to tip a little bit as Saw tries to take out, and that gives you a little bit more of a shot. So describe the snipe that takes this guy out.
Nico's blood is up, and he's just rushing through the snow. His head is just barely above it, and he's bright purple with anger, and he's just blasting, just ripping the gun the entire time that he's going, and he doesn't even realize that he hit the guy, and there's just lasers flying everywhere all around Koi and just blasting at him.
Koi, you somehow managed to not get hit by all of the various laser fire coming in your direction. And as you look down, you can see that the face has just at one point just took a blast, like dead right between the eyes. And there's like a huge burrowed hole right where the mask used to be, and the person is no longer thrashing about, no longer fighting, and you presume might actually be dead. Okay, we're gonna break initiative at this point. I think we can do that. We'll start with those of you outside. how are you following up on this moment? What are the three of you doing here?
Nico's still shooting wildly.
Okay.
Koi will dodge bullets or lasers or whatever she's firing at her and try to get to like the edge of the ship and yell out to Saw and say, "Aren't you supposed to be fixing the person on the ground? Why are you messing with the ship?" And then she's going to start going back into the other ship.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
and Saw will be like, first I have to confirm the death. And she's going to crawl up into the...
Okay. You crawl up into the cockpit. The cockpit, like I said, I think I said this last time, but it appears modified. It definitely is more than just a 1 or 2 seater. It looks like they've removed some space to potentially have Xxchas in here. You can also tell that some of the weapons have been replaced. And so the spaces that would actually probably have some of these more the kind of interceptor style fighters, they would probably have more guns, more missiles, etc. But here it just looks like cargo space. But when you check them, miraculously, the ship on the inside at the very least appears undamaged by Nico's wildfire. But they are in fact dead, as their face was quite literally blown off. One thing I'll say you do notice, just looking down, they are heavily cybernet. Like they have quite a few cybernetics on them. As you pull the mask back, as you sort of pull the chest back a little bit here and there, and you can see there's not just cybernetics, but there's horrible scarring here and there to like almost like someone it's not so much brands in a way, but like somebody has carved various sigils and symbols here and there over their skin into into the body here and there. And Nico, anything you're doing as well as you see a Koi trot past you going back to the ship?
I would also be searching the body and just talking to myself, come on, grenades, come on, grenades, come on, grenades.
I'm not even lying, but you do actually find 2 plasma charges.
Yes.
Yeah, I will.
Dibs, shoving them in my fanny pack.
Okay. Proof plasma charges, actually. All right, let me see if I can drag them onto your sheet, maybe. Meanwhile, the Roca is just getting covered by snow and ice, and is probably near death at this point. Let's see. Check your inventory.
Some healing. Since Nico's in the ship, Saw will go back out and assist.
Okay. I can't find the plasma charge item, so I'll figure it out later. Okay. Inside, so now Krieg, Pyrrha, you start slowly creeping into this this engineering section. It is in somewhat shambles. You can see there's a lot of consoles and stuff that have suffered some damage, but thankfully it does seem from here that the core is intact. You don't think the casing has suffered any significant damage, otherwise the ship probably would have blown to pieces. But you look down and you notice finally, as you start moving a little further in, what is making the sound. And you see that there is a creature that is nestled at the base of the engine core, the casing itself. And it is quite enormous. You would imagine that it probably is the source of the tracks that you saw outside. It's covered in kind of like this gray-white skin, this blubber almost. And it looks like a little bit like a half shark, half walrus. As you see, it's quadrupedal, but it has this massive mouth. You can see tusks that are coming out of the top part of the mouth, in addition to rows and rows of teeth. And it just seems to kind of just be trying to get a position up against the core casing itself. There's evidence of some folks that have not done too well when facing this thing, but it is probably a couple times your size. It's pretty big. It would probably have had to squeeze itself through some of the openings in the ship.
So this appears to be the creature that bit people in half outside, or tore them in half, that we saw on the way in.
You would probably be right in assuming that, yeah. I wasn't sure if you were asking me. I'm sorry, it didn't sound like your voice.
So yeah, Peter, I'm thinking that let's just go back really quiet. Like, it seems to be nestled down there trying to get some heat, maybe. Yeah, let's go talk to Nico and Koi. It seems more like their area of expertise.
I am offended. I'm a good shot. Did you not see what I just did back there? I can handle this. I'm not saying we should do it, just the two of us, but this could do damage to our engines, and then we'll never leave.
So I love this plan, Perry. You go ahead. You start shooting at this thing. I'll go get the rest of the guys. I'll rally the troops. Because you see, I've got a knife. Literally, a knife.
You can throw a knife. Throwing a knife can work sometimes, but that seems to it has a lot of blubber. The knife may not go through the blubber.
I have only one knife, and I've got no other targets down there to hit with long hair or anything. So I think maybe I'll just go get the rest of the guys. You stay up here and shoot it. Doesn't look like it can climb anyway. And you could be the hero of the story. That's how I'm going to tell it. You're the hero of the story.
There's money that comes from being the hero.
That's
Money's
right.
Good. Money's good. But I have to live. I have to live to get the money, though. I have to live.
Contracts here. This is true. But like I said, you're up here. It's down there. It can't get to you. But give me like 30 seconds to go get the rest of the troops, and then you just start firing away. Everything will be fantastic.
Okay, I'm going to count. Okay, all right. 29, 28.
Slow. Not your fast counts. The slow counts. The one Mississippi count. I don't even know what the hell a Mississippi is, but do that way.
Either. What words are you saying to me?
It's some old word from, from the Saul, from, those guys. They're crazy. But I'm going to go get the guys, the rest of the guys, and the gals, and the turtle, and everybody. You just shoot away. Okay. Good luck.
And Krieg, you come back out. You're on the second level. You look down. You see Koi at this point is trudging into the cargo bay once more. So the two of you lock eyes. Koi, you can see whoever the fight is over seems to be in here, and you can see Krieg up on the second level. So the two of you see each other.
Hey, Koi. Listen, if you go straight into the lower section of the engine room, there is that thing that bit everybody in half. It looks like it's a giant tunnel of teeth and anger, but it's sleeping at the moment, but probably not now because Peary is going to start shooting it any second. So I was going to go get everybody else, and I thought, if that's something you might want to be interested in taking a look at, that's fantastic. I know Nico is going to be excited about this.
Kind of huffs and then starts making her way closer to the engine core.
Yeah, and
I love that beautiful old turtle.
Yeah, and Koi, you pass by just like really awful scenes of gore along the way on this bottom level, where you see some of the science team. You see some of these other invader folk, various shapes of disassembly, and then you get to the door, which is open. Is sort of looks like it suffered some damage, like it's been forced open. And peeking inside, you can see that nestling right up against the base of this engine core is this massive creature. It seems to be trying, like it's like settling down, almost like it's trying to sleep or something, like it's trying to get comfortable here or there. Yeah,
she's not gonna do anything right away. She'll just kind of watch it for a little bit.
Okay.
24 Mississippi, 23 Mississippi.
While that counting's going on, we'll kick outside for a moment. Saw you grab the Roka, and I think will you say are you bringing it inside, or are you?
Yeah, to warmth.
Okay. All right, and then so you're bringing Sash inside. Nico, what are you doing?
Are the comms still jammed?
The comms that you have between, if you have comm beads, if people in here have comm beads,
Krieg and Nico have comm beads.
Right, you're fine. You can communicate just fine.
I would pull out the comm bead and start talking. Krieg, we got explosives. I'm on my way in. As I'm, go ahead.
I was just going to say, Nico, you're just the guy I was coming for, because I've got an exciting opportunity for you, almost for you alone. Just don't shoot the engine core. But there's a tunnel of teeth and death waiting for you in the engine room. And I thought, you love a good target practice, but don't hit the engine. Koi's already in there.
Moment.
Yeah, you got to run, though, because no bombs. No, it's our ship. Nico, come on now. It's our ship.
Comm goes dead.
Oh, damn it.
Jeff, as I'm running, I would also like to be organizing my fanny pack to make things easier to get access to. Basically, I just want to do a discipline check to recover strain.
That sounds great. Yeah, anybody else can do that, by the way, too. If you suffered strain, it's at this point there's a calm in the storm. Doesn't look like you're Like, it looks like you've managed to take care of the intruders at this point. There is that creature, but that's kind of an opt-in moment at this point. So you're welcome to roll a discipline check if you want to try to recover some strain. Okay. All right, I'm just going to hand it over to you. We've got Piri and Koi who are in the engine room, different levels. You see the creature. We got Saw. You have brought the Roka into the cargo bay outside. They're stable medically, but they've suffered some damage. Nico, you're now in the cargo bay as well. Krieg, you're there as well. So you guys are all on the ship. You haven't fully explored the ship, but you're on the ship. You don't hear the sounds of shooting anywhere else. What do you guys want to do?
I want to at least ask some questions of what happened.
Okay, of Sash. Okay, yeah, you can.
Yeah.
We'll say that you can get them awake a little bit. Yeah, you can go ahead and I'll say you've already rolled the medical test. We don't need to roll another one.
Okay.
You know that it's going to be touch and go. You probably don't want to push it for too long, but you might be able to get something out of them. Okay, so you're talking to Sash. What about the rest of you? Just kind of call out what you're doing, and we'll resolve it as it makes sense.
Krieg is going to head towards the part of the ship where we've got our internal and external sensor suites, and he's going to see if he can pull up any of what's happened in the last few hours while we've been.
So
here.
yeah, you go up to the bridge. Basically, when you get to the bridge, though, you find that someone has jammed the door, and it appears to be jammed from the inside. You can certainly roll a test to try to get in if there's something you're looking to do, but otherwise it does seem jammed, like the internal.
He knocks on the door first. He's like, "Hey, if you're in there, if you jammed yourself in there because you were worried about the bad guys, we took care of the bad guys and the good guys are back. So open the door. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to try to break in, and that's just not my forte."
You hear a familiar voice call out. Krieg, is that you? It's a female voice.
Yeah, of course it's me. Who else has a charming voice like this?
You hear, oh, thank God. The door opens up, and you see standing before you is a Winu that you all would know as part of the science team, an administrator, an admin, not necessarily one of the scientists, just someone there to kind of coordinate various things. Administrator Luwak the second. So the Winu are like these kind of light green skin humanoids. You can see that she has this adornment around her forehead here and there, and a small little gem right above the forehead. But you can tell that she has, she looks a little worn. She looks like her arm is bleeding pretty heavily, and she's favoring it a bit. But you look inside, and it looks like she just barricaded herself within the bridge. Are they gone? Did you get them all?
Well, they're gone in the sense that we killed them all, yeah. But Administrator Luwak, what happened while we were in the mine? I mean, where is everybody? Where are the scientists?
It was terrible. They just came out of nowhere. We just heard. I heard fight. I heard shooting and screams, and I thought it was just sparring or whatnot. And then I got out into the hallway. I saw Murtaugh, and he ran for the core. I ran for the bridge. They had mass. They were terrible. One of them shot me in the arm. It hurt so terribly. Look at it. I'm not supposed to get shot like this. I'm an administrator. And just kind of holding it up. And you looking at it, by the way, it doesn't look bad to you. It looks like a graze, like a very light graze. Do we have? Is there a med? Do we have a medic? Is anyone a medic? They took.
Of course.
They took Rit. They took Ungala. They took the scientists. I think they tried to get on the bridge, but I got here and I radioed to you all. You came. I saved the day, didn't I? You came because I called.
Administrator Luwak, we're gonna spin it that way. Absolutely, you saved the day, and yeah, Sa can take care of your arm. That's a horrible wound. You've got stories for days, but let's drill down to the important thing. They took everybody. Where did they take them to?
Oh, I saw ships. And she steps aside. You go onto the bridge. The bridge is decent size. Several consoles. Nothing seems to be damaged. It looks like she managed to get here before they could. There are viewing ports. You look out and you can see it's obscured somewhat, but you can definitely see that there's that fighter out there that Sa and Koi were messing around with, and Nico, and you probably could have seen others. There were others. There were three. There were three. They took them there. I told you everything on the radio signal. I told all three, and then two of them took off not long ago, and then there's the one left. And then, oh goodness, there was terrible fighting. The big turtle lady just nearly bashed that one in the face. I could barely see it, but
Koi, she is. If I knew my grandmother, I would want her to be Koi. Let's just put it that way. But now these other two ships that took off, are they the same kind of fighters that didn't take off? I mean, are we talking Planetair? Are we talking Interstellar?
I don't know. Sensors aren't working. I tried to get them. I tried to get them to function. I tried to get any readings, and no alarms. The passive sensors didn't kick in. We didn't even know until they were already on the ship, and they got on the ship somehow. It was terrifying, Krieg. It was absolutely. I am not fit for field duty.
Well, Administrator Luak, like I said, you're the hero here. It is a little perplexing, though, that they managed to get on the ship without activating the passive sensors. Makes me a little concerned that we might have a mole, but, we'll talk about that later. Yeah, don't worry about it. It's, I'm sure it's not you. After all, you got shot, right?
Yes, right here. It's so painful. We'll cut Sa. Like you're interviewing Sash at this point. Okay, so Sash wakes up, eyes flicker open, ever so briefly. They look up at you. Did you get them? And again, this is a feline character, so it's like think of it almost like a panther in a way, like a dark like a black panther in a way, like a dark furred slender cat person basically, as they're looking up at you.
Yeah, Koi and Nico blew them up.
They took it. They took it.
Did they say where?
They didn't say anything. They talked about. He just something about the void. That they will open the door, the threshold. They were speaking gibberish, and they took it.
You can see bare their teeth, like these sharp feline teeth as they look. They get very angry, but then they wince, and you could tell they have some significant damage done to them. Unlike the way I described Luak with just the graze in the arm, Zash is pretty well beat up.
Yeah, we'll have to get Rick back.
Yes, I feel less without them already. I feel like half of me is gone. Please.
And that kind of reaches out, tries to grab and pull you in, but you're wearing a suit, so there's not an easy place to grab. Okay.
I like to think that because I am just wearing a suit and I'm gas, they grab my bicep, but it just closes as much, and they're just really holding fabric in their arm, and it just distributes me awkwardly inside.
So they
please.
Good.
And she shakes her arm away.
Sorry. There were 9, maybe 10. I never got a full count on them. I tried to get to communications, but I couldn't make it there, and I don't know how they got on the ship. I don't know. We didn't even see them landing. Then the alarms didn't go off either. And if I hadn't been looking out the window in the mess at the time, I wouldn't even have known.
And they're just breathing and breathing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, stay calm. Let's get you into a more comfortable room, and then we'll have to go after Rit.
Okay.
I feel like this was an ambush.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, then Koi. Okay, bottom row. Nico, Koi, Piri. What are we doing? What are you guys up to?
Koi wants to see where this creature is. Okay, obviously we know it's trying to get warmth, but does she see any of our crew that's been mauled and destroyed by this creature, or is it just those pirate guys we saw?
So you see along the way from the cargo bay to the engine room, you saw like one just hideous, like just absolutely just ripped apart series of people that just looks like someone had thrashed through it. Probably 2 people, but from what you could tell, at least one of them was one of these intruder folks. But it also does look like one of them wasn't wearing that kind of gear. You would probably need SAW to make a proper ID, but definitely it took out at least one of your crew, one of the science team. There's a lot of like research assistants and things they might have taken out, that kind of thing.
Nico would also be interested in the creature, not as much about the casualties, but about how to blow it up.
Okay, you look in and you would know, Nico, that it is nestled right next to the core. And while the core's casing is very strong, it has, you can tell that the engine room has already suffered some damage. The core looks okay. Some of the consoles look pretty roughed up. There's definitely some repairs that might need to be done here. There was an engineer that was kind of working with the science crew, a SAR named Murtaugh, who knows pretty well, knows a lot about engines and things like that, but mostly was working with the science team. But you don't see them amongst the debris. But even Nico would know that setting off a plasma charge that close in that proximity to the core, it's a dicey proposition. It'll probably take out the creature. It might explode the whole ship.
But there's a chance it won't.
There is a chance it won't.
Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 1 Mississippi. Hey guys.
Counting.
What's Mississippi?
I don't know. Krieg told me that I count too fast and I needed to count slower, so he told me to say that. I don't know what it means. So this thing looks sort of cute now that it's asleep. I know it was really dangerous earlier, but now it's sleeping and it's warm and it's not attacking us. I'm not sure what to do with it.
I know what to do with it.
No, we're not going to blow it up. I mean, but it did.
Oh my goodness! Why would you blow something up? We're at a ship. We need the ship.
Have you seen his? Did you see his face? I mean, he's like sitting there, just like jiggling these grenades in his hand. It's a little disturbing.
Oh my goodness! Put those away.
I don't even know where he got those. I don't understand how big this fanny pack is either. He's like 3 feet tall, and this fanny pack seems to be just like never ending size. But
Hear me out. We get a
Mhm.
giant slab of meat. I put the grenade inside. We feed it to the monster.
It's still going to blow up inside our ship in the engine room, and we need the engine.
But the
to fly.
monster will contain the blast. It's science. I've already done the math.
I'm not so sure how that works. It's asleep right now, right? Like it's just curled up and it's asleep, and it's not like
It does seem like it's either asleep or it's in the process of falling asleep. It hasn't, since no one's really gotten particularly close to it right now, it hasn't reacted to you all yet.
Yeah. Anyone have like a heat pack or something like that? Maybe we could try and lure it off the ship with a heat source. That's
I
not
like that idea.
our
I
engine.
like that idea. Or maybe food. I don't know if it's hungry anymore though. It ate people. It ate lots of people.
Maybe it killed a bunch of people.
I can get it
probably.
a steak.
Where are you getting a steak from?
Do you have a steak in your fanny pack?
We have a kitchen somewhere.
I do have a portable toolkit. So I imagine that has maybe like not necessarily a blowtorch, but some sort of like I don't know what the word is, but like repairing, like sealing things.
I think a cutting torch is
okay.
Yeah, I think that's
so
fine.
I kind of want to. She wants to try to like light it and get closer to the creature and see if she can maybe corral it like it's a cow, and see if we can try and corral it out of the ship and maybe just leave the cutting torch out in the snow with the creature so we can go. Or
okay. Okay. So I'm gonna want to roll for this. You're getting fairly close to it. Like I'll take.
And I mean, obviously, judging by the reaction, she will, act accordingly. But she wants to at least try to.
I've got your back, Koi. And
Be
Piri
humane
has her-
about it.
Yeah.
Even though this is a.
if we can.
And I have no problem.
Murderous
If Piri's helping you, like you could take a boost die. I would say you could do like a stealth. You could do a survival if you're trying to like lure it out. I'll even take like a charm or something to try to coerce, like whatever you think makes sense here.
I'm
That's
ready to
fine,
put it
yeah.
down.
I can do.
If anything happens.
I do have some points in coercion, or I can do charm if you want. I don't. That's fine.
It's fine. I mean, since you're trying to lure it, I think charm makes more sense.
Okay.
And then if Nico's helping, you can take a boost die from each of them.
Okay.
2 difficulty. Just leave it at default. It's fine.
Yeah. And I'll add I'll spend a story point. So you just add a yellow, or you just press plus yellow, right?
So story point upgrades a green to a yellow.
Does that make a green to the yellow? Is that this one? No, that's not. That didn't do it right.
Oops. Sorry. I went the wrong way with that. So I should have, I think, 2.
Oh, there we go. Okay. I got it.
And you should have 4. So 2 on me, 4 on you now.
Dang.
All right. Okay. You weren't necessarily able to lure it away, but you also didn't necessarily fail, and it didn't like lunge out at you. But you have gotten its attention. And it's looking up at you. It sees the torch. It sees your hand. It's not being violent, but maybe it's just this case of like there's this engine core here that's ridiculously warm, and you have a small blowtorch.
Right. It's not even close.
Yeah. So, but it also doesn't seem to be immediately hostile. So if there's a different approach the 3 of you want to take, there are advantage there that we can carry over.
I have an idea.
Does your idea involve grenades?
Plasma charges aren't technically grenades.
Does your idea involve plasma charges?
Don't ask too many questions.
Look, maybe you go wrangle the others, and then we can have a little powwow about what we want to do with the shark walrus thing.
I'll get on the comm bead. Krieg, we need you and Saw. We're about to blow up a monster.
Well, I'm here to tell you that sounds like a very interesting event to attend. But I'm on the bridge. I'm talking to Administrator Luak, trying to actually figure out where all of our people are. So I'm going to leave the blowing up of monsters to the rest of you. And we'll be here in the event that the ship does not go up with your insane attempt.
Fury is going to move her mouth close to Nico's ear, because I'm assuming that's where like the comm is.
Yeah.
And she's just going to yell, "Can somebody bring a space heater?"
Not in the ear.
I always ask you for it, and you never give it to me. So this is what I have to do. I have to yell in your ear.
I did hear something about a space heater. Listen, I'll yell out. Sa's still taking care of, still taking care of our buddy there, Sash. So, but I'll see what I can do about sending you something. But don't hold your breath, unless that's something you really want to do.
So Krieg said that he wants us to blow it up.
I'm pretty sure it's not what he said.
You don't have a comm bead to know.
But I mean, I know you and I know him, and
all right, he said he would send a space heater if he can find one.
See, now that sounds like what he said. She's just sitting there, like, blow the blowtorch.
I could just shoot it.
Saw, you are in the cargo bay still with Sash. When you hear the door of the second Rambler just pop open a little bit, and you see a shadow start moving inside through one of the windows, and you can see a head pop out gingerly and look around, and you recognize the face of a SAR that was part of the team. Murtaugh is a sort of an older one of these sort of an older mechanic, but you can see as they look out, they lock eyes with you. Eyes go wide, and you can see their shoulders kind of relax a bit. And you see as they move around the backside, they're still a little tentative around you, but at the same time, they just say, "I never thought I would say you are a sight for sore eyes." And you can see that they're limping. And when they turn around, they have this huge slash diagonally across their back, probably from one of them shutter blades that you saw some of these folks. But they seem to be moving. They have a rifle in hand. They don't seem to be good at holding it or using it, to the point where they're trying to use it as a cane, but it's like the barrel's pointing up at them as they're doing so.
Gosh.
It's really, really dangerous. But yeah, this is one of the teams. So the team itself was so you had two lead scientists. One was a Hylar by the name of Ngala Finn. One was Rit and Sash, of which you have like one half. You know that there was an administrator who Krieg has met with. There was an engineer, Murtaugh, you've met with. And there were a couple of research assistants who you have sadly found some remains of. But again, you haven't done a full sweep of the ship. But it does look like, at the very least, the main two scientists, the Nas Rit and the Hylar squid person Ungala Finn, those have both been taken.
Sash, as they approach, she'll whoa there, and reach for the gun, so that they don't accidentally shoot themselves.
Okay.
And help get them kind of in a position where she can do a med test on their or heal
Sure.
or
You don't need to roll a check. But yeah, you can patch them, but it's not necessarily something that's going to kill them. But it's a pretty brutal slash, and you can tend to it relatively easily. But they slump down in the same general area as Sash. So you have two injured survivors here. Krieg's got a minor injury up on the bridge, and that's who you've discovered so far.
I think Saw will, while they're doing their thing with the thing, she'll slowly take both of these up to the bridge so they're all together, and then Saw will see if Krieg will go on a sweep with her of the rest of the ship.
I'm here to tell you, I think that's a fantastic idea. I'll be one step behind you the entire time. I promise. I also think once we clear the ship, we need to go back out and take a look at that fighter, see if it's got any kind of information in its navcom so we can figure out where everybody else went. Because
I want
to know
where it's been.
Yeah. From what I can tell, Ugala's missing, so...
Yeah. Rit is missing as well. Do you think maybe they set us up by setting out the help signal, and that's why...
That's absolutely what I'm thinking. We are right here. I think we got set up, and I think they wanted to grab our people. Now, I don't know why they grabbed those two, but maybe they know. Maybe they wanted them for something they know.
Their scientists, their equipment is missing. Our scientists are missing. This is a problem. Sash, so devastated. You can't separate. That's terrible.
That's terrible. We got we definitely.
Krieg, I'm here for true love, and it's ruined.
I hear you. And you know what I'm here for? I'm here for a good story. Piri is here for cash, cold hard cash. And when we tell her that we're not going to get paid for delivering these scientists, she is going to lose her little bird brain. So we got to tiptoe around that. We got to tiptoe around that. Last time that happened,
she cried and she screamed at me. I didn't know what to say, so I just dropped all of my coins and I walked away.
That was probably the way to go. Personally, I think so. In fact, if we have to go that route again, I highly encourage you to drop all your coins a second time.
I don't have any more. I have rocks.
I don't think that's going to cut it. So I guess we just need to actually get the job done. So let's do a sweep of the ship and see what we can find. Okay. You lead the way.
I am gas. I won't protect you very much, but I will try.
So I'll say, as the two of you shoot the ship, you've already hit, the big places: the engine room, the bridge, the cargo bay. You check the mess. You check a lot of the living quarters, and you find one other person who looks familiar. A research assistant, one of the people who was part of the team, just a lesser, someone lesser, like a student or something like that, human, and you can see that she is. As you open up one of the doors into the living quarters, you can see that she's tentatively hiding underneath what looks like a desk, like a console, and she peeks up, terrified look on her face, but you can see that she's her human, very, very pale. But when she sees the two of you again, she's just, I'm so glad it was the two of you. It's up to you whether you all think you know her name. Again, she's a lower totem pole of the crew. So if you're the type of person who would have engaged with that, you might know her name. Otherwise, she might just be a nameless face, part of the team.
Krieg would know everybody on the ship because that's his thing.
Her name is Katha Amos. Young, kind of has a librarian look to her. She's a bit jumpy, but when she comes out, she's limping, and you can see, I would say, Sai, you would know this being a medical professional. It looks like she has taken a relatively point-blank pistol shot to the leg, like from one of those shot pistols. And she is in a significant amount of damage. She's like wrapped what's it called, a tourniquet around it. But she has been losing blood significantly, and she looks almost out of it. When she tries to stand up, she collapses back down.
Krieg, help me get her over there. I will heal her, okay?
You got it, kid. And he picks Katha up and he gets her over to the bed.
And we'll say there's probably a med bay on the ship too, so you can start taking some of them back to the med bay and start doing some treatment there. Okay, let's cut back to the core room. What's the plan here, Koi and Pire and Nico?
I am tired of the two of you arguing. I am going to go. I am going to see if I can get the space heater or figure something else out.
I was going to suggest maybe we turn off the ship too, and then that way my flame becomes a little more important.
Oh, okay. This is action. This
right.
is
I'll still keep doing it, but might help.
I just really feel like I'm being stifled, and my creative input is not being valued.
You're right. You're right. We think blowing this thing up is a bad idea. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
You'll have a good idea. You will have a good idea, and we'll agree with that one. This one we don't agree.
You can go check on the other ship, maybe like blow up something not important over there. If you just need to get out some like emotional feelings.
I'm not going to waste a grenade.
You got grenades?
Think about it. It's free, right? You just got one, so you never had one before. So you're not wasting it. You're just using what you just got.
Can I turn off the engine? Or do I have to go somewhere else to turn off the engine? That's a good idea, Koi.
I don't know. I just thought of it. I don't know what you got to do.
If we want it to follow the warmth, we got to make this not warm.
Mm-hmm.
All of you know how to turn a ship off. So whoever wants to, you could very easily shut down the core. The consoles here in the engine room are all kind of damaged up, but you can go up to the bridge, which, according to Krieg, was intact. And anyone who wants to do it can shut it down. That's not a problem.
All right, one of you two. I'll keep doing it.
Period.
Okay. So Piri, shut the ship down. All of a sudden, all the lights, the running lights, the various things that you've seen in the hallways or in the med bay, some of the machinery starts to shut down. You can see the flickering of the core begins to lessen. It takes a little time for the warmth to really evacuate the room, but maybe a half an hour or so later, you finally see this creature start to stir. Koi gets the light of the torch at this point, and it begins to like lumber forward, in this sort of clumsy fashion, just bumping into things left and right. You see a console going this way. You see it just happens to smash into a display, and it continues to chase in the direction of Koi. Koi, you're backing up. You're keeping your distance, no problem. However, the one tricky thing is when you get to the ramp going down, and you're outside the ship now. You've got the torch in your hand. The wind's kicking around. The snow, the ice. It's still on the ship. It's looking down at you, and it's being a little less interested in going back out into the wind.
All right, just keep going. Baby steps. Just come on.
Now, Nico, you have those plasma charges, which would very much create a moment of significant warmth. It will eventually fade, but it'll be enough to be a bright burst out here if you wanted to try to lure it with one of them.
I don't want to waste one.
Okay.
Is there anything else we could burn?
You can
maybe a Rambler?
I don't know.
I'll drive a Rambler out in a...
Do not burn one of our Ramblers.
Seat.
You want to set one of your Ramblers on fire?
Don't waste a grenade.
The cost differential between one of these Ramblers and a single plasma grenade is enormous, and it's not the direction that I think Nico
I
thinks.
can't see you, but I feel like there's some horrible idea behind the creature that you're trying to come up with while I'm sitting here running out of fuel for this torch. You just hurry and do something productive. Yeah, it's like just a little cigarette lighter at this point.
as he's saying that, cut to Nico pressing the big red button in the Rambler for self-destruct.
If you want to go blow up the Rambler outside, Steven, you absolutely could do that.
Yeah,
what
I'm
you
doing
wanna
that.
do? Okay, you go outside. The one you drove up, you hit the
We have two.
self-destruct button, and you manage. We'll say you put it on a timer. You run back into the ship, and it explodes. And at that point, there's this. All of you who are in the ship, who probably have no idea what's going on here. There's a sudden and very loud explosion. You feel a little vibration on the ship as it's happening fairly close. But Koi, you watch as this freaking creature just starts charging at you. You step out of the way, runs down the ramp in the direction of that explosion to where now there's a burning vehicle outside. And you have managed to get the shark off
I
your
took
ship.
care of it.
She will
Problem solved. Problem solved.
puff and go up the ramp and hit the button,
Okay.
so we can close the door at least,
Door
or
is
pull it if
closed.
the power's still.
Sure. We'll see you put the power back on at this point, close the door, all of that works out, whatever order. So taking stock, you have managed to get this thing off your ship. You've managed to kill all the people the lingering abductors. You have 4 survivors in tow. You've got a ship outside, the fighter. You heard that the passive sensors weren't working. The engine core has taken some damage. And you have 2 of the 2 lead scientists of this entire science team are missing. What you guys want to do?
I assume we all get together at this point. And
Yeah,
now that
probably
we've
at the
solved a
bridge.
lot of the issues
Yeah, that's fine.
and explain everything.
We've done a full sweep of the ship. They're not on here. Let's do a
Nico, I
full
gotta
sweep.
ask. I just gotta ask real quick. I've already done a full sweep of the ship. And there's no but. Did you just blow up a multi-million-dollar vehicle instead of using a 100-credit grenade?
There are so many questions today, and I don't understand why.
I just gotta
We're a
ask.
team. We're a unit. We work
No,
together. We
You-
make
you-
decisions. We move forward.
You gotta understand. We have to pay for that. You have now destroyed our
I don't pay
profit.
for it.
No, you will get no money.
Did you
for the
just cost
next
me money,
100
Nico?
Mission. Piri, he cost you your entire career's money.
Okay.
Your
all
entire
right.
career's money. I am going to kill you one of these days, you green bastard.
I do fill out the accident reports, so not that I regularly lie, but tax fraud possible. We could
Yeah,
go.
it happened
large-
before we got here, right?
The large creature
I'll
bit it in
co-sign
half. Large creature bit it in half. That's what happened. Right.
And you
Right.
guys
I
call
saw.
me the deceptive one. Listen, I'm gonna go to that little ship and I'm gonna take a look at its navigation computer. So Nico, don't blow me up while I'm in that ship, all right?
We should go.
Would
We should go. We should go find them.
Well, we
Where are
can't
going?
send everybody, but we also need to talk to the admin lady. She's like kind of sketchy. I mean, everybody's got like vicious wounds and gunshots and sword stabs, and she's got like a little cut like Nico. I mean,
Threaten
we definitely.
her point.
Yeah, I'm gonna go talk to her. Who else could come with me? But let's keep some people on the ship just in case. You know, the Rambler
I'll go
fire
with
goes
Krieg.
away and the creature comes back.
I have a gun.
I
I'll
want
go
to do
with
another
Krieg.
full sweep. I don't believe that Krieg looked in all the little nooks and crannies. He's too tall.
All right.
You do not trust Salana.
Well, you're also kind of tall. Well, your suit is. You aren't.
Let's
All
go,
right.
Krieg. Let's go find where we're gonna go.
All right, Krieg and Piri, you're going to take a look at the ship outside, right?
Yes.
Koi, you're going to interrogate the administrator lady.
Mhm.
And then Nico, being useful as always. And I also looked it up, by the way. It's 17,500 Ori, which is cash. And it's a restricted item for the Rambler versus 40 cash for that grenade that you did.
Nice.
And that's the difference in price. So Nico's doing another sweep. And then Sa, what are you doing? Where are you headed?
Asa is going with Koi.
Okay, so the two you're going to go interrogate. And then Steven's doing Steven things. Okay, Piri and Krieg. What do you want to do with this ship? We don't have to play it all out, but what is it you're looking to accomplish here? What are you looking for? What are you trying to do? That kind of thing.
just trying to take a look really at the navigation computer to see if we can figure out if it had a course laid in or where it was coming from, see if we can figure out where the other two ships likely went with our people.
The good news is that no roll is actually going to be necessary, as the ship was interrupted. The person who's about to fly it was interrupted in the process of trying to start it up. The ship they've already gone through like log credentials and stuff, getting it booted up. So it's really just about sifting through the data. You notice that so one thing you learn immediately, easily, no problem, is that its last known port of call was at a planet known as Wellon, Wellon. I would say you guys are pretty smart. I would say Krieg is pretty smart. You would know that it's an industrial planet a few systems over from Bereg. Not that far away. It's maybe 2-3 days away by your ship standards. More information could be available with a culture or a science test if either of you wanted to roll that. But that's the immediate easy info that you found.
I would like to roll a culture test.
I would,
go ahead.
Unless you're, are you good at culture?
Oh God, no. I was going to say you definitely should. Can I assist in any way?
Sure. Yeah, I'll say this. Yeah, that's fine. Just take a boost die.
Okay. And then can I take an audience boost?
And honestly, this is not going to be difficulty 1. This isn't like a hidden planet or anything like that. It's really just to see how much you just happen to know about this place. And yeah, of course. Yeah, you can always take audience dice as long as they exist.
We decrease difficulty. I know how to increase
The minus
difficulty.
purple, I think.
Yeah, there's a minus purple button. Yeah.
Is there a minus purple? I see
I
a
think
plus
so.
purple.
Should be.
I thought I saw one.
I know I saw one for attack. Oh, it just says plus or upgrade purple.
Yeah.
Click on the actual diamond, the purple diamond.
Oh, there we
on
go.
the
And
left-hand
then it
side.
disappears.
Yeah.
Yeah, there
Nice.
you go.
Oh, that was a whole lot of nothing. One advantage.
Okay, so yeah, you don't really. I would say you're not an expert. Maybe it's because the two of you have never been there before. But you do have access to some stuff in your, on your ship and whatnot. You can eventually, cross-reference. But it's an industrial planet. It's known for one of the things it's most well known for is that it's got floating cities. It's because it's a very helium dense atmosphere, and that there's a lot of like helium mining that goes on. And there are these very very ornate, very large and picturesque floating cities. One of them, the capital, the main city, is a place called Azure Glide, and that it's known for having a very high tech cybernetics industry there, because they have to do there's a lot of like different breathing apparatus and different equipment that they have to use just to be able to have a lot of the industry function there. So that's what you two would know with just an advantage rolled.
Krieg, do you think we have enough to go on?
I think we got enough to go back and tell somebody who might be a little bit more skilled to come out here and maybe do a little deeper dive. I'd like to know for sure where this fighter was going. I mean, it's a big planet. If we can narrow it down a little bit, but that's a little outside of my area of expertise. Maybe one of the scientists can come out here and give us a look-see. Not Nico, that crazy little bastard. We're not letting him anywhere near this ship, but anybody else.
Okay.
Computers test would be the role I would want if you wanted to dig in and find anything else besides what was obvious.
Oh, before we leave, right?
If either of you had, I don't know what your skills are off the top of my head, but if either of you had computers and wanted to roll that, you're welcome to do that instead.
I mean, I'll give it a shot because we're here.
Okay, and this one's just normal 2 difficulty.
Woohoo!
2 successes and 1 advantage.
Okay.
Thank you, audience.
So, okay, 2 successes, 1 advantage. I'll give you a couple pieces of info. So you notice a couple things. First, it certainly seems as though you notice that there were regular messages coded between your ship and this ship. You can see that they were on this side of it. You can see the incoming messages. You look at the dates and everything. The timing is probably why you guys are either in FTL or just coming out of FTL. And you can dig into some of them. And you can see that there's updates, just sort of basic status updates from somebody. You can see that there's various personnel files on the science team and on the Kelleris crew. And you can see that there were also various like details about like Kelleris policy, standard operating procedure, stuff like that, like is sort of kind of floating in your direction. With 2 successes and an advantage, I can tell you that the messages incoming were ID'd from Ugala Finn. So that was one thing you would be able to pick up. And then the other thing, I'm trying to see if there's anything else that I could give you here. Yeah, I think that's that's probably all you'd be able to get. So personnel files on science team, Kelleris crew, messages tagged with Ungala Finn's ID coming in several of them. There was also the most recent message just said now, as if it was like kind of triggering or signaling, that kind of thing.
And that's the other scientist person?
That's missing.
The high ally that's missing, yeah.
Now, would we think that that's something that kind of an ident could easily be spoofed, or is this like a fingerprint?
Definitely can be spoofed. It would be done, something that would have to be spoofed by someone who is pretty adept. Like it could be done. It's not an easy thing to do, but it could be done.
So we definitely have a mole. Definitely a mole.
Oh, the other thing I'll give you, by the way, since you had another thing I'll say, because you were specifically looking for a place on the planet, you do see that there are also messages that are being sent specifically to a palace in that city that is associated with a cybernetics company called Coil. And you see there's messages going back between this fighter, like just basic updates, just like this is the status update, that's the status update. There's nothing super, like everything you're reading is just about, okay, they're landing, they're responding to the call, they're leaving, that kind of stuff. But it's a specific palace on Wellen associated with a company Coil that is owned by a kind of a wealthy elite by the name of Bertod Reek. So you would find some of those as well. Now, I guess that's it. That's all you would get digging through this fighter.
What was that name again?
Bertod Reek.
And Coil, COIL, is the name of the cybernetics company.
I'm here to say, Pierre, you are fantastic. I've decided you're the new hero of this story. It was the administrator because she was panicking, but it is now definitely you. We know where to go. We know who our likely mole is. I think we can get this mission back on track as long as we manage to keep our other Rambler intact.
Heroes get paid. Heroes get paid. I like this. Let's go back. Let's tell everybody. Oh, you have your thing. You can tell them now.
I don't think I want to pass any information on to Nico. He is not the most reliable source at this point. So I think we just go back and we tell him in person.
I think he's actually very helpful. I think we're just not quite seeing eye to eye right now, but I think we will.
Because he's so short and so terrifying. That's just my take on it, though.
We'll see. Okay. All right. Let's go back.
Okay. So we'll cut then to Koi and Sa, who you've set down Administrator Luick. You're looking to question. Sa, would you have performed any kind of medical attention on her?
That's what Sa is going to be doing while Koi is asking her questions.
Okay. So she's sort of just babbling about how painful it is, about how brave she was, but also about how she's just not at all cut out for field duty. No. I'm not leaving Mechatol again. No. And she's just kind of shaking her head as the two of you are in here. I turn it over to you.
So, you just barricaded yourself and left the whole crew to fend for themselves? What happened with that?
I saw Murtaugh at one point in the hall. I stepped out of my quarters. He stepped out of the mess. he said something about going for the engine core or something, and I said, I'll go to the bridge. And so I ran for the bridge, and that is what I did. I thought the best thing to do, I said to myself, Luwak, what would the Kellerists do? They would make sure that no one could steal the ship. And you can't steal the ship if you don't have access to the bridge, so I went to the bridge. Yeah, Krieg said I was a hero.
What is the equivalent of like insight checking her story?
Perception,
vigilance
maybe?
or something?
Perception, maybe? Let's see if there's anything else.
That's
social
cunning.
skills.
I don't know what vigilance does or what it's for.
That's more like see inside on, like
It's based on willpower, so
Yeah, I mean,
vigilance is.
I'll take a like a perception test maybe. I'll take if there's something else, if there's something you want to roll that you think would make sense, I'll lean into that too. So that's fine.
I might just be like nudging Saw to roll something while I'm like, just kind of getting her to like see if she trips up on her story, if she says something weird. So I'm just like letting her ramble and just kind of taking it in and trying. I'll give Saw advantage on whatever you want to roll. I'm not very good at this stuff.
Oh God.
Okay.
You gotta be a little better than me.
So actually, lying is deception and vigilance.
Okay, so vigilance.
Oh, okay. I can roll vigilance then. That's fine. Okay.
Go for it. Go for it.
All right.
And let me know
So
how you
it's
do.
a pair of opposed checks for lying.
I don't know why I'm very good at vigilance, but there you go.
Three
Okay, how many?
successes.
3 successes. Okay.
And a threat.
So, okay. There's nothing necessarily about her story that she seems to be lying about. Like you don't get the sense that she's like just outright lying about anything. You do get the sense that she's holding something back. Is probably more of what it is. Like there's something more that she's not necessarily saying.
Okay. I think, as you're bandaging her wound, Koi will stand up and kind of broaden her shoulders and say, "Look now, lady, a lot of people got hurt on our ship. And I feel like if you got something to say, you say it right now." And she kind of, peers down.
Her eyes will go really wide at this point, and she'll go, "Oh, I had nothing to do with it. I promise I had absolutely nothing to do with it. It wasn't me. It just..."
So if you didn't do it, then you should be telling us, because I, gosh darn it, don't feel too agreeable right now.
Listen, it's just that you all weren't fully briefed on what the science team is doing. And you...
Get to talking, little lady.
Okay. Listen, it's just that the information that I have is not something that many have. Only 3 of us have a full understanding of what they were going to attempt to do and what some of that equipment was going to do. It was myself, it was Rit, and it was Ungala. It was just the 3 of us, and I'm here to make reports. You've heard stories about the Gamma wormhole, I assume. Yes, you have, right?
She's like looking, and I would say the 2 of you would know there are wormholes in the galaxy.
Uh-huh.
And Alpha and Beta are basically the fixed wormholes. But then there's also this rumor about the Gamma wormhole, and it's more of a rumor or a kind of an urban legend in a way. But the basic idea is that it sort of exists, but the entrances aren't fixed. And so no one really knows like where it opens and closes and how it opens and closes, that kind of thing. And it's just that Rit and Ungala believed that they could predict where the next opening would be, and the equipment they were going to use to try... Well, I don't understand science completely, but they were going to fire it into the entrance or something to try to stabilize the wormhole.
And she looks at Saw at this point, and I realize that your people are the only ones that actually have information for the wormhole, and you're very upset whenever you hear these types of things, but that is all. That is it. That is it. And so if anybody knew about this, that it would probably motivate them for capture of our science team. That's it. That's it. You know everything now. I've told you everything. I've told you everything I know. I'm a hero, yes? See?
You are something. I don't know if I'd call you a hero. You barricaded yourself while the rest of the crew just got stabbed and shot, but I guess you're a hero.
Triage. I was protecting the bridge so the ship couldn't be taken.
I'm a little disappointed in you, kinda. I'm not gonna lie.
In me? I am your
I'm disappointed.
proverbial paper pusher. You're the muscle, not me. You're the shepherd. I'm an administrator. I administrated. You.
I thought
I'm
you'd do
disappointed in you.
better. I thought you'd do better, and she walks
We're
out.
all the wranglers of our own ranches, so next time you better step up.
And Saw will give her like a confident pat on her shoulder.
Ah!
The other one that's not injured.
She still does it anyway. She still does it.
All right,
Okay.
don't be a yellow belly. Good night.
Good night. Yes. Wait. What? What's going? What?
And then the two of you, she's very confused as the two of you leave the room. Let's cut to Nico for a second. Nico, what the hell on earth have you been doing?
Okay, I know that Krieg did a scan of the ship looking for more, but did anyone actually inspect the minions that we killed? Like investigate them for clues?
No, not really.
That's what I'd
very
like to do.
briefly-
Just try
very
to-
briefly, just like looting and
You
stuff
know,
like that.
Yeah, make sure they don't have any grenades, obviously, but then try to see if there's any clues of their
Dear
employers.
God. Okay. All right. You. Really, the only thing that's looted. Unfortunately, you've looted all of the explosives. There are plenty of shot pistols. Most of them that are left have shot pistols. So there's going to be like a good 7 or 8 of those. If anybody wanted a shot pistol, they can feel free to have one.
I'll put one in the fanny pack.
Yeah, they have these hooded cloaks as well that actually could give some soak too. That's and one is and not only does it. I'm sorry, no, it doesn't give anything to soak. It gives a bonus die to stealth test. So if anybody wanted a hooded cloak, they could potentially take that as well. So that's in terms of the lootables. If you're looking for any sign of their employ, okay, Nico, give me a check. You're going to get something no matter what, but how well you do might determine if there's anything in addition to what you're getting. So go ahead and roll. Perception sounds great, yeah.
And I will spend a story point to upgrade one of my dice.
Great. We'll treat it difficulty. Difficulty 2 is fine.
Okay. Let it rip.
All right.
One failure, 3 advantage.
You said the words.
3 advantages. I know, yeah, use the words. Bad luck. Okay. 3 advantages is still going to get you something. It's not necessarily going to get everything, but I'm still going to give you some basic things. Every one of them, you notice, they're all humanoid. They're not all humans necessarily, but they're all humanoid. So you can see that there's some humans. You can see that there's a Letnev or 2. You can see there's a Sar or 2. You see there's a Hakan. So they're multi-species. But every single one of them, the things they have in common are the fact that they all have cybernetics. And with 3 advantages, I would say you notice that the cybernetics are branded here and there. And you do see that coil logo again that I mentioned to Saw. I don't think Nico knows about it yet, but I know that the players, you guys do. So you definitely see that. Let me see. And you see that every single one of them has these, what can only be described as these self-inflicted ceremonial scars. And I would say that's what they all have in common, despite the fact that they all seem to be of separate species.
Yeah. I mean, I'll
I'll take whatever seems useful, and then just log that for when the group meets up. I'll tell them about the scars and all that.
Okay. And we could say that everyone's now done something. We can say we can do a check-in again. Everyone meets up once more. Everyone's got a little bit more information, divulges it here and there, and then you guys tell me what's next.
Well, we should probably check our computers to see if the scientist is really sending the messages or if someone's faking it. I mean, the admin seems pretty, useless, but at least she told us about the wormhole. I mean, that's something, I guess.
I mean, she's an admin, so how useful can she really be?
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you this. It's going to take us a couple of flight days to get to where we're going, right? So maybe we get the ship together. We get en route there to Wayland, and while we're en route, we do a thorough check of the computer systems and the road survivors to make sure, nobody's hiding anything else other than the shady stuff.
Maybe Nico, we could try to do some research on that stuff that you were telling us about with like the scars, and maybe we can like figure out who those people are.
Yeah, they're really religious nut jobs. Something about Coil, some sort of cult corporation, maybe both. I'm not really a research guy though, but I can hang out with you while you research.
Well, I think we definitely got a target. This palace that belongs to this Bertal Reek fella there in what's it, that Zur Glide. If anything, I mean, it sounds to me like maybe our good buddy Ugala there might be a bit of a traitor, or at least an opportunist and traitor. But Rit sounds like he may just be collateral, and we got to get him back to Sash.
But we also need to see if maybe Ugala was set up, because maybe it wasn't. But if she was, she's dead to me.
Exactly. I like the way you're thinking there, Perry.
Yep.
All right, so you guys are going to try to get the ship up, start your travel, and then in flight, continue to dig into some of these things. Yeah, that's no problem. We'll say some time, you'll probably have to spend some time getting the engine room up and running again, but you'll be able to kind of get up within a day. And we'll say, we're not going to do it. Don't have to worry about pilot test or anything like that. But if one of you wants to hop in the pilot chair, no problem. The way travel works in here is you basically have to get a certain amount of distance away from like anything that's got a gravitational pull, so like a planet or a moon or whatever, before you can kind of ratchet it up to FTL. So it does take almost a full day of just traveling out a system before you're even out. So we'll just sort of montage over this in no specific time frame as you guys are continuing to sort of investigate. So I heard things like you're going to look through your own systems. Is that right? And then you are going to also do some research as you can in your computers on anything about these scars and things like that. Is that right?
Yeah, we want to verify Ungala sent messages and that it wasn't someone else like the admin.
Okay.
Let's see if we can't pull up any more information on this cybernetic corporation Coil.
Yeah,
and or like anything about this Bertok Reek.
Okay.
We're doing reconnaissance.
I definitely would be piloting, like you said, while they're doing that.
Absolutely. No problem at all. I'll say that I don't really want to do a ton of rolls in this because there's really not a time pressure here. And a lot of this is just basic research. The only thing that would probably require a roll is digging into your systems and trying to see if Ungala was really the one. That's probably going to take a roll, but basic research and stuff, you don't really need to do anything with that. So who would want to be the one who is like trying to do some sort of computer forensics here, trying to dig into some of the messages and things like that were sent over to the escort fighter? So it's computers test if anyone's good.
Computers is not Krieg's strong point.
I've got 2 greens and a yellow.
That's pretty good. It's pretty
good.
Go for it. We've got audience boost if you'd like as well.
I will take one for funsies.
It's best reason to take them.
2 successes and an advantage.
Okay. So what I'll say is if you're specifically looking into the logins, right? You're looking at your logs, you're looking at the distress call, all that kind of stuff. You got 2 successes and an advantage. Okay. So the first thing you notice is that the distress call, there's never actually a record in your communication systems as you start scrubbing through it of it ever being incoming. It seems to have just been logged onto the system by somebody on the ship, as opposed to it actually being beamed into your ship. So that's one of the things that you noticed. The ID that was used to log into the system at the time was again Ungalafin. Digging into the sensors as well, as I think Krieg heard, and I think probably Koi as well, that the sensor logs, the passive sensors didn't kick in, that kind of stuff. That's been brought up a few times. Once more, it looks as though about half an hour after you all left to go to the mine to respond, to sort of meet with the overseer, you can see that the passive sensors were disabled. And once more, Galafin's comes up again. You can also see that some of the communications on the other end, there's a lot of scrubbing, as if like it looks like someone was trying to some degree to scrub these communications, but with 2 successes and an advantage. So I'll tell you that this almost looks too perfect, because it looks like there's messages that were being sent out to this escort fighter from this ID of Ungala Finn. And it has this weird balance of like, it's hidden, but if someone's so good to do this and this, why weren't they good enough to scrub the messages? So maybe in the back of your mind, you're starting to be a little bit suspicious of how her name just keeps popping up and keeps popping up in ways that you think if they were able to do this and this and this, it's not hard to scrub a message from a comm log. Like that's not a particularly difficult thing to do. So it is kind of curious to see that it's still there. So I would say that's what you would get when you're digging into all of that stuff about the logs, the stress call.
And
anything
will
else?
eventually, like, she'll mention that to Krieg to like pass out to like the rest of the crew, just like her concerns. Like maybe she did want this to be found by us. Like maybe there's something else happening. And then aside from that, Saw would also be looking for, because we know that comms were disrupted. So she's just going to look to see if maybe there was still a device somewhere.
With 2 successes and an advantage, I'll say it doesn't look as though anyone's listening into your communications currently. Doesn't look like there's anything going on there.
Okay, cool.
Okay. A couple of you said you were just going to do some basic research on Planet Company and the CEO. And again, that's stuff that doesn't really take there's no reason to roll on this. So Wellen, like as I already mentioned, the planet is really like it's an industrial planet, not necessarily within any specific like galactic civilization. I can show you it on the map. I'll pull you over to the map really fast and ping it for you. Again, it's not too far away for your ship. So you all were in Bereg, which I'm pinging there. And then you're heading to Wellen at this point. So it's not too far away. It's a little bit of a backtrack for you all, as you're kind of heading more forward at this point, and you were really heading rimward to the cluster. I've already told you there's heavy cybernetics industry, helium mining, things like that. If you start digging into the Coil, they are a leading cybernetics industry. They are the CEO is a guy by the name of Bertod Reek. It's a chemicals and cybernetics conglomerate, basically inherited family wealth. Human, has a fairly devoted following, specifically within the planet. They kind of see him as an iconoclast or a visionary in some ways. A lot of it's about the cybernetics development, but also he has gotten increasingly political over the last couple of years or so. Heavy dissenter against like the Galactic Council, even the Kellerists specifically. The idea of empires. There's some who believe he's just an anarchist. So you can see a lot of debate over this figure off that planet. you would probably even be able to dig out a few speeches where he talks about the great civilizations need to be, putting them back into power. The diplomats are inept, worrying about the day when the council has proper footing, and just it's like enough of this old thinking of these civilizations. And so there's a lot of people who just follow him because of that kind of rhetoric, and others just follow him just simply because of the advanced cybernetics that he's been able to develop through his company. The city of Azure Glide is effectively the capital of Wellen. Floating again, it's a floating island on the clouds. Very rich, very very rich there, and so it's the type of place that you could get in. Like it's public access. It's not necessarily like a private island or anything like that, but it's a very rich location. There's really only one competitor, Silverline Institute, as you've heard of, and so that would be all the kind of the basics that you get about Reek, about Coil. Anything particular you guys are looking for?
Well, Krieg would go to Saw after Saw told us what she found in the logs. Be like, Saw, listen, I got a question for you. So maybe, it could be that Ogala is not really, behind these messages. So you think maybe you could, dive back into your computer and do a deeper dive on Administrator Luwak and the engineer Murtaugh, see if they've got any connections back to either the Coil company, or to that Reek fella directly, either directly or through ideology. Because maybe, either one of them could potentially have enough know-how to get into the computers and mess with the logs and put us on the wrong track and go after this scientist. So is that something you could do? I'm not good with the computers, but I was thinking to myself, it's kind of shady that both the engineer and the administrator got off pretty lightly and are still alive on the ship. I don't know. What do you think?
I could try.
Would
Okay,
you
if
want
you're-
another computer?
I think I would, because it's going to be a higher difficulty to make those connections. I'm going to say difficulty 3, and you're just sort of looking into the surviving personnel, seeing if there's any kind of connections. Yeah, we'll say difficulty 3, roll another computers test. That's fine.
Use a story point.
Yeah, so you can do a story point if you want to upgrade your die.
Sure.
Bump up a green to a yellow.
I think we're technically 3 and 3 right now. The system isn't logging it properly.
Oops, let me cancel this. I accidentally gave myself the wrong dice. So bump up the green.
It should be the green die with an arrow up, not the green plus.
Yeah, that's where I messed up. And then make that an extra. Boom. 3 successes, 1 threat.
Okay. So this isn't something that takes just a couple minutes, right? This is something that's taking, again, it's about a 3-day travel from once you get into FTL to get to Wellen. And then if you take into account the fact that you got to speed up, takes time to pull away from Bereg, then it takes time to slow down. It's kind of how this works. The systems in Twilight Imperium basically means that you will automatically start slowing down at the FTL prior to, so you don't kind of run into a planet or something like that. So this is taking several days as you're going through this. So we'll say that this is so one evening, so to speak. We'll say you're sitting around the bridge, you're going through the material, and you're kind of digging through, and you're digging into the deep history of Administrator Luwak. And honestly, you're not finding any real connection at all. From what you've seen, she has a pretty strong reputation. She's one of the Winu custodians, meaning she's literally a person who stays on Mechatrol Rex, the sort of the center of the galaxy, kind of in a way, where the galactic throne is and everything. We don't need to get to the full lore, but she's there. She's assisting. She works for the Galactic Council. It isn't necessary, or like with them, I should say, as opposed to for. But you don't really find a whole lot of complaints about her. You don't really find anything out of the ordinary. Nothing really seems to sort of to come out. The SAR, if you look at the Murtaugh, the engineer, it certainly looks like the engineer has been working with Ungalafin for some time. Like you can see that it's definitely he's a builder, whereas she seems to be more of like the theoretician. And again, it doesn't look like he's ever gotten political. Doesn't look like the only kind of religious beliefs that you ever seen him kind of espouse is the kind of the pull, the journey that the SAR so often kind of feel. And that's more of a SAR thing as opposed to a galactic wide thing. So nothing again is really kind of popping up. And then you start going through you start going through some of the others. You go through the research assistants, you go through essentially everybody. You go through Sash as well. And while you're there, something pops up. And you notice that there is this speech that Bertod is actually giving, Reek is giving. You can see he's on this elevated platform, this gravlift platform within which you presume is the city of Azurglide. And you can see that there's a group of people behind him, and he's giving some kind of, it's a very kind of an unhinged speech in some ways, like this delusional, like extremist speech. He's talking about his like a trip he took, about how he took his cruise liner to the outer cluster and the outer rim, and how he looked into the abyss and the gods looked back, and he's got this weird shift to it. His face kind of contorts. But as you're looking, you notice a familiar face in the back amongst his sort of entourage that's in the back. And although her hair looks a little different, and although she doesn't have that same kind of librarian feel to her, her hair is down and not tied back. You see the research assistant, Ungala Finn, that I think Krieg had found, and maybe you had found actually at the same time.
Uh-huh.
And as you go to turn around to kind of go get everybody else and wake them up, you see standing in the doorway is that same woman. She's got a gun out. It's pointing at you. And she just says, "You just had to keep digging, didn't you?" And then she reaches up and she kind of peels off this section of skin on her face, and you can see that she's been wearing some kind of dermal patch, and underneath you can see these scars are starting to show here and there. And she's got the gun. What do you want to do? I'll give you a second before I do something horrible to you.
I knew it was this.
Want to get out of my suit and go up into the air vents.
Okay. You want to get out of your suit. Okay, that's true. You are. Let's see how long that takes. Let's double check to see let's see if that's something you can do instantly. So you are a gas person. You're full of gas, Ashley. You're a gas bag.
I'm so gassy.
Okay.
You just hear a fart from the suit and then shh.
Okay. I don't see anything that suggests that this takes
It doesn't specify
a significant
how long.
period of time. So this is what we'll do. Let's just roll it as initiative and see if you get that. See if you vent your suit faster than she pulls the trigger. Is what we'll do.
Oh God. Okay.
How's that sound?
Yep.
So I think that's fair. I'm just going to use the stat block to do it. So go ahead and roll vigilance for you. Go ahead and give that a roll. And let me put you in 1 6 1 advantage. Okay. Let me go ahead and roll for me. What do I got? Oh, that's the wrong sheet.
I didn't roll off the.
It's fine. Don't worry about
Okay.
it. Okay. Sorry. Looks like. Sorry. Her character sheet's all bugged out.
Lesson
1
learned.
sec.
Don't trust administrators or students.
Or students, for
That's
sure.
what we're-
You could tell I wrote this. College faculty member, doesn't like students, doesn't like administrators. You can tell this is something I definitely put together.
Near and
That's
dear to your
awesome.
heart.
One of those is more true than the other.
Is that terrible? Is that terrible? Yeah, I always tease Melissa because she's an administrator, which is hilarious. All right, sorry. I forgot to add
That's my
something to the sheet.
self-deprecating. What are administrators good for? Humor.
All right, so there we go. Sorry about that. Okay, you do manage to vent you vent yourself first, and so you now start moving in. Like you hear a small kind of shift, a decompression, and you just start venting yourself out of the section of your suit. She fires, but at this point, it misses you. Somehow it misses, and you can see it hits a console behind you, and you start venting yourself. And you said you're going to go up into a vent in the bridge.
Yeah,
somehow?
and she's gonna try and get out towards the bridge where Krieg is at.
Well, you're on the bridge. I'm saying you're on the bridge, and yeah.
Where alternatively, wherever someone else is, the nearest other person.
Sure.
Maybe Nico.
We'll do a rando. We'll see who's randomly there. It will be Nico. Nico, other than on the bridge flying, where would Nico be? Where would Nico have gone for a temporary break?
I actually was going to say that Nico is a bit of a nester, and he probably spent most of the trip in the cockpit, and he's surrounded by wrappers and drink containers.
Okay.
But it would make sense that he would leave to go get more drinks and snacks to bring back to the bridge.
So you come back and you have in your arms a handful of snacks and things that were left over in the mess. Thankfully, they didn't, loot the fridge. And you step into you go up to the bridge and you hear the shot go off. And when you run up, you see that actually it's just Saw to you. You wouldn't even probably see her vent. You could just see her fall over, like because it's her suit. You probably didn't see the venting. And you see that this woman, this research assistant, fires and shoots Saw, and Saw falls over. What does Nico do?
I drop my snacks and pull out a grenade from my fanny pack.
Okay, maneuver done. What's your action?
Throwing the grenade.
You're gonna throw the grenade into the bridge. Okay. Are you using one of the grenades that you loot? Because you have one grenade left that you looted off of one of the.
No, I'm going to throw the infantry grenade, not the plasma ones.
Okay. Okie dokie. So go ahead and roll. Short range is fine. Everything's good there. So go ahead and give it a roll.
I'm going to spend another story point to upgrade a die.
Go right ahead. Okay. So when thrown, they arm themselves automatically, detonating on contact with the target. Nearly all rely on some sort of super compact explosive combined with micro shrapnel and a blinding gas to disorient biological targets. So you throw it in there, it explodes, it hits her. Maybe she doesn't even turn around just yet. You just kind of peg her in the back of the head, and it explodes, dealing 9 points of damage. 4 critical. Okay, let me check her stats again. See what that does to her. Oh God. My poor librarian lady. 9 points is actually not enough to take her out, but she falls to the ground extremely disoriented, as you said. But the grenade explodes. Maybe it's not a direct hit after all. Explodes. I'm going to roll a critical injury, though, for her. So we got to do that. Actually, you should roll it. Go ahead and roll a D1 hundo.
D1 hundo. 46.
All right. So this is going to do... Oh, boy. Where's 46? 46 is head ringer. Perfect. The target increases the difficulty of all intellect and cunning checks by 1 until this critical injury is healed. And so you manage to destroy it. The grenade goes off. It doesn't. The fire explosion doesn't necessarily envelop her completely, but she does take a significant amount of damage. And as the dust clears, her head begins to, she's sort of seeing double. She's already taken her attack for this round as she shot at Saw. Saw, you vented yourself. Nico, do you want to do anything else other than throw a grenade?
My follow-up action would be to attack her again, so I don't think I'd be able to do that on the same turn.
I'll say Krieg, Koi, Piri, all of you. Not only do you hear an explosion, but unlike earlier when you guys weren't here, automated defense messages start going on. You see like the red alert kind of pops on as something has gone on and you know something is up. So what would the three of you do?
Krieg would be running towards the bridge because he's assuming that we're under attack.
Absolutely. Koi, Piri?
Yeah, Koi, I mean, she has a spacesuit, so she's not, I mean, she seems like the ship's breached judging by the alarm, so she's not worried to go towards the sound.
Okay. All right.
Fury doesn't have a suit, but is still running towards the sound.
Okay, you're still running up. Now the good news is like it's not gonna necessarily cause a breach, but it is going to significantly damage the bridge consoles in here to the point where it might be difficult to land this later when the time comes. So I'll say that the three of you're running, and as the turn comes around, as you're each of you coming from your various directions, you'll get there with like your full turns of movements, and you see that Nico has just blown up the bridge. You can see that Katha, the research assistant, is getting up. Kind of has her head she's kind of got her hand on her head. One side of her face has all these strange scars that don't look recent. It doesn't look like she's bleeding from them, like they just happened. And she has a gun in her hand, and you see the body of Saw has fallen onto the ground, onto the floor in the bridge. You don't see Saw herself. You assume that's her. You assume that's her body, because there's no real difference between seeing the suit with something in it and some, with a Krieg in it and without. Why don't the four of you go ahead and just roll a we'll call it a vigilance test, and we'll just see where you end up, just to see if you go before her or after her. All right. It looks like... Oh, boy.
I rolled really high.
Okay.
Wow.
So...
Koi is super vigilant.
It looks like she's going to go before one of you, because it looks like Nico rolled one threat, I think. Hang on.
Yeah.
Let me double check.
Nico is a threat.
Oh no, that still would go ahead of her. Yeah, because she rolled a failure and an advantage. So I think in the grand scheme of things, I think she's going to go last. So yeah, what do you guys do? You guys roll up. You see her stumbling, gun in her hand, body of Sal on the ground. Nico clearly just threw a grenade. Any order the four of you want.
Koi is going to go body check her into the wall with the shield and pin her.
Okay.
That's what I was going to do, but you're probably better at it.
But she doesn't have like an immediate reaction to the grenade blowing up. It's just she's on instinct seeing Saw's body.
Yeah. Okay.
So
she does have one melee defense actually.
okay.
So add one setback then.
Sure. One setback. That's the black one. Ooh.
Oh dear God.
There it is.
3 successes.
Oh, wait, I didn't roll the weapon. Sorry. I rolled just
worries.
brawl. The weapon's 5 damage, so it becomes 8.
So is it 8 or is it 7?
I don't know.
So
Is
one
it plus
success
2?
does.
Okay, so 7 then.
I think it's 1 success gets the base damage, and then the extra 2 successes do additional damage. So it's 7 points of damage combined with Nico's grenade. You come charging in. You body check her against the wall. She stumbles down to the ground. Since you weren't specifically necessarily trying to kill her, I'll say you smash her against the ground. She stumbles. The gun cascades across the floor to the feet of, we'll say, Krieg. And she seems at least to be knocked out currently. So Krieg and Piri and Nico, what do you do with that?
Krieg looks at Nico.
Krieg, get the gun. Get the gun.
Oh, Krieg will bend over and pick up the gun and point it at Nico. Be like, listen here. All of your grenades, right now, on the fucking ground. All of them. You blew up the goddamn bridge.
I was right at her. I didn't have my rifle. I didn't have a short-range weapon, and I go through my fanny pack.
All of your grenades on the ground, or I am going to shoot you in the head. Because
I go
you
through
are
my
a
fanny pack,
menace.
and I pull out the shot pistol, and I just immediately put it behind my back.
I don't give a shit about your guns. All of your grenades on the ground.
Krieg, I didn't
He
mean
blew up
I
the
meant-
fucking bridge.
I meant to point it at her. I didn't mean point it at him. Point it at her.
He is
Point it
more
at
of a
her.
menace than she is.
Maybe.
I mean,
but
that's pretty
she's-
true, but we gotta look.
She killed Saw. She killed Saw. She's.
We gotta
Right,
set some ground
Nico,
rules, but
she
let's
killed
get this
Saw.
person.
All I want is his grenades on the ground. That's all I want. I don't want him to have any more grenades. He blew up a
Technically,
Rambler
that
and
was
he
the
just
only
blew up
grenade
the
I
bridge.
have.
You are a lying sack of shit. I know you.
The other ones are charges.
All on the ground. Put your fanny pack on the ground. We'll go through it ourselves. You can have everything back but your grenades. You're a menace.
I'll put the fanny pack on the ground.
Okay. Steven's so sad. All right. You put the fanny pack on the ground. Krieg, there's definitely, there's at least one plasma charge in there. I don't know if you had any more infantry grades, but there's at least one plasma charge left in there.
I think you said I had 2. Yeah.
You had 2, but you didn't you? Oh, no, you didn't use one.
No.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's
I
right.
blew up the Rambler.
Dummy.
No
Yeah.
more infantry grenades.
Okay. So you do have, there's 2 plasma charges. Okay. Yeah, so in that case, so the Nico situation seems to have been sorted out. The body, so Koi has taken out this woman. Saw's body is laying on the ground.
Yeah.
Saw,
so
you're currently traveling through the vent looking for somebody at this
Yeah.
point. Okay.
So I think after a while, if she doesn't find someone, she's going to come back. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it says I can move without through difficult and impassable terrain without penalty, but I can't stop inside solid surfaces. So
Right.
to be creepy, on my way back into my suit, I want to like pass through Nico and Krieg and just kind of leave him feeling uncomfortable as like eventually you witness as her suit starts to slowly like stand back up, like an arm comes up, the shoulders, and then the head, and then whatever she used to vent like finally closes, and then she's back inside.
Okay.
Saw, you're not dead. Saw, you're not dead.
Oh, God.
I
I
thought you were
feel
dead.
like that would be really creepy, actually, if that happened to you.
And like
Personal space. Come on.
her voice mod box isn't set correctly, so all you get is the song as Shania Twain goes, "Let's go, girls," and then that's all you get from her.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
Okay.
All right. So
I
now
love
what?
that.
Body on the
Koi
ground.
has auto cuffs. So she's
Okay.
going to use auto cuffs and she is going to blindfold and gag the research assistant.
Easily done. No issues whatsoever. It does seem she is still alive. You didn't kill her. She is still alive. She's bound, blinded, all that kind of stuff. Looking
So does this
around,
mean-
the bridge
does
is
this mean it wasn't
in
fenced?
shambles.
This is not good, Nico. I mean, you can't be, you got to understand, we are a flock. We are together. We are a unit, and this ship is a part of that flock. So if you're going to throw grenades, you're hurting the flock. That means you're breaking my heart.
I thought she killed Saw.
And you know what? It's real sad because I was so disappointed in the admin, and now I'm disappointed in you. And I thought I had enough disappointment in the past day, but. And she just kind of
Boy,
like,
I'm
I just
sorry.
need
I
to go. I need to go do my toes, and she'll bring the body and go back.
Okay. Koi goes and does her toes and takes the body out of here. All right. What else? What else we got going?
Can I try and slowly try and put back together what we can or salvage?
Yeah, you can certainly make a mechanics test and see how much you can piece back together as best you can, and see whether or not you're going to have any. See what kind of systems were damaged in the process. But
Yeah, like
consoles
right
are
now-
in pieces. Yeah,
Yeah, she's like right now probably just diagnostics of like what is fucked up, and then
Mhm.
see what we need to do from there.
Okay.
Krieg would be calling Murtaugh up to the bridge.
He'll come limping up as well. He'll see the problem. He'll just be like, and then he'll just look over at Nico as if I think he knows. Everyone knows.
I
I
got
don't have any explosives on me.
And then he'll bend down and start, he's still laboring. He's got that bad slash. You probably healed it up a bit, Saw, but the two of you will say you'll start repairing with your success. He'll probably also, lend some aid being an engineer. We can put some things together. We'll say this all happened 4 days into your travel. So you're basically going to be coming out of FTL tomorrow and the slow move up to Welland. So you have essentially a day to try to piece together some of the bridge equipment to make it so that you can properly land in a spaceport. Okay. Anything else?
It's a good thing I don't need to sleep.
Yeah. Okay.
Krieg
Anything else
takes,
you want to do?
Krieg takes the grenades and the plasma charges, everything else. He searches Nico's room, everything he can find that could possibly explode, and he dumps it out an airlock as soon as we
Okay.
come out of FTL.
All right. Okay. So
What a waste of credits.
I know, right? Wait.
Oh, you mean like that Rambler? You mean like the Rambler?
Dang. Everyone was racing to get that off.
I hope we don't need those grenades.
You know, we're safer without him. I would much rather take a knife to a gunfight than have Nico with a grenade in my back. I'm just saying.
I think you're wrong. I think you're wrong about that. I think a knife to a gunfight is a really bad idea. A grenade to a gunfight is a
I
better
always take
idea.
a knife to a gunfight, and I'm just fine. The only person who's
That's
almost ever killed me is Nico.
But that's why you're always behind me and you don't ever go in first because somebody else
See?
has to take it for you.
I'm not stupid. You got to think these things through, Perry. And you do a fantastic job at it. You're my hero.
And she just sort of grins and walks away.
So as over the next 24 hours, repairs are being done. People are healing, getting on course. You're dropping out of FTL. At some point, obviously, Katha will awake. If anyone wanted to do anything with her, would anybody be questioning her, or you would be going? Okay.
Yeah, Krieg would
Krieg's
probably.
in
He's pretty good at that kind of stuff.
All right, go
Krieg can
ahead.
be good cop, I'll be bad cop.
And before he does question her, Saw would have informed him of what she found.
Yeah. Okay. So you. Okay, we're getting into that. I want to kind of end the session here. So we'll say so. Krieg, go ahead and roll a coerce. I think if is that probably your preferred. Yeah, go ahead and roll that.
Yeah. And he's got his blade out, and he's like, "I know you're not afraid of getting cut, but there are things you are afraid of, and we're going to get to the bottom of those." So he's tapping into his gunslinger talent to brandish a blade and make it a little, scarier.
And I'm just patting my fanny pack threateningly.
The now empty fanny pack.
I wanted to give you a boost die for that, but come on.
Can you threateningly pat a fanny pack?
She knows that's where I pulled the grenade from.
Well, that is
She
true.
doesn't
Okay,
know
that's fair.
that those
That's
were
actually
airlocked.
fair. She does take a boost die, Krieg, from Nico helping with this interrogation.
All right. Okay, that's right. Okay, and can I take an audience dice?
Sure thing.
Let's have some fun.
Yeah.
6 successes, 2
Oh,
advantages.
Dear. Okay. So you can see that her eyes kind of go wide, saying that there's things that you fear. How, like as you're kind of getting into the idea of fear, you can tell at a certain point she starts grinning, and you can see that she's essentially chewing on the inside of her mouth, on her tongue. Blood's kind of squirting out. She talks. She most certainly talks. But she seems, at a certain point, she just starts babbling. And when you talk about the idea of there's things that, there's something you're afraid of, something, she just talks about the abyss. She talks about the veil. She talks about all that she is afraid of is that which looks back on us from beyond, that which will come into our universe soon, and that Bertod will lead them. And she just keeps kind of spouting this rhetoric. She talks about the flesh. She mentions a few times, like that phrase pops up once or twice. She talks about divine retribution for those who have harmed me and harmed us, tearing down the veil between the gods and between this universe. She's spouting all this kind of stuff. Between all that rhetoric that you managed to coerce out of her, that she otherwise wouldn't have said anything, but you kind of taunt her to the point where she just spits in your face, both literally with her blood, but also figuratively with this various language, like where she's just kind of pushing forth, talking about monsters, the abyss, demons, sin, very extremist, strange rhetoric. Saw with the speech from Berta Reek that you managed to dig up, and I would say just the basic info that you all have as agents of the Kelleris. There are certain words and phrases and factions that pop up that are basically high priority. And part of that standard operating procedure documents that were getting pissed off, the Mahak were one of them. And that seems like a huge red herring. It just doesn't seem like they were just using it. But once you start hearing a lot of this rhetoric, you all have heard stories from the Asheron Gate, from other far off reaches, of something coming through, not wormholes themselves, but tears, dimensional tears. You've heard them be described as demons and devils. You've heard them be described as creatures of a different dimension. And it's not just the creatures themselves, but the very ships that they seem to fly through space or themselves rumored to be alive. And you all would know of a word that pops up in your literature, in your Kelleris alerts. It is the Vulwraith, a demonic, bestial species from a different dimension that, not necessarily wormholes, but similar, are trying to find ways into this universe, into this galaxy. And they have managed at times to somehow convince or others like Katha and some of these to kind of fall into this demonic worship of them. And it seems as though that is what she is. And that might also be what the CEO of this cybernetics corporation is as well. And we'll end there as this information is coming. We see the bounty descend out of FTL, descend the clouds of Wellen, and reach for the Azure glide and the spaceport as you're landing at this point on that floating city. We'll call it there. All right?
Nice.
Okay.
What an episode.
Vulwraith. I mean, it's so weird. VUIL apostrophe RAITH. Playable. I think it's a playable faction, actually, in the Prophecy of Kings expansion. I think for Twilight. I don't know. Someone out there is a Twilight board gamer. You can correct me if I'm wrong. Okay.
Very cool.
And what I'm going to do is, since next session is going to be our last session, everybody go ahead and take 10 XP. You can expend it however you see fit. And so you have something a little extra if you want for next time around. Whatever it is you like to spend it on. All right.
Cool.
Nice.
Okay. Let's do a little close and plugs and such. Aaron, what do you got going on over at Garblag? What's up next week?
Let's see. Next week on Garblag on Tuesday, I believe Millie's going to be back at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for some more Coriolis. On Wednesday, we should be riding our ship and be back for Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 4th Edition, Shillings and Crossbones, our pirate adventure on the Sea of Claws. And then on Thursday, if not this week, but coming soon, Pete is going to be back, Garblag himself, running some more Traveler.
Traveler? What?
Yep.
Very
Traveler.
nice.
Should be a good time.
Very nice. A specific module, or like
Spin
back to
word,
his usual thing? Or?
No, a specific module, or at least a specific region. And I don't want to spoil it for everybody, but I believe it's the Spinward Marches. Yes.
Okay. Right on. Know a little bit about that. We play a little Traveler here. Schedules got crazy, and I played a little Traveler over. I actually played in one of Pete's Traveler games, like maybe 2 years ago or something. Yeah,
you were the marquee.
I was the marquee. I was Keanu Reeves. Whoa, in space. Everybody was getting, what was that? What did everyone get? It wasn't Bloody Marys. What was it? I can't remember, like Bloody Marys or something. We had like a bar.
Mimosas.
It wasn't mimosas. No, I think it was Bloody Marys.
Okay.
I could be wrong. Okay, and then let's see. What do we got? Next is Monday. Melissa and I are playing some Call of Cthulhu here, Horror on the Orient Express. Stephen, we're off on Tuesday, but normally, what do we do on Tuesdays?
Normally, we play Forbidden Lands. It's great. The players get back at me for being such a bad player. They can do it to me as a GM. And we are currently in an ice cavern. They're about to be attacked by spiders. we will be picking up on the 20th with that combat.
Sounds great. After that, Friday was up in the air currently. Might be Conan, might be Black Sword Hack, or we might actually take the night off. We're not sure. So, check Discord, check Twitter, check the schedule. I'll update it once we figure out what we're going to do. And then we'll be back next Saturday to finish this little adventure off. I'm going to traditionally go to Evan now. Evan, you got anything going on?
No.
Okay. Thanks, everyone.
Follows me everywhere.
I just like the pause. You do it so well. All right. Thanks everyone out tonight. Thanks to those of you who are watching this later on YouTube. Really do appreciate it. Follow the stream. Follow YouTube if you can. Adventures in Lollygagging. And we're going to raid our friends over at the Boys from the Baltic Star. They are playing Orbital Blues, a favorite of ours, actually. We very much love that game. So follow the raid. Have a great rest of your weekend. We'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.